preparing to live stream in YouTube as well. And then I just need to switch off the audio on YouTube and we will get started. Preparing to live stream in YouTube as well. Okay, fantastic. So a very warm welcome to everyone joining us on YouTube. Last instruction to my children, hold on. All right, is Crystal in the room as well? Crystal will be supporting us today. Let's see if Crystal is in the room. Okay, fantastic. Yes, Crystal is here. Great. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. All right, now we're seeing someone else's screen. Just a second. This is Falang Mosene's screen. Let me see where I can see you. Please stop sharing your screen. I need to obviously get that right on Zoom. Falang, stop sharing your screen, otherwise I need to kick you out. I'm just looking for your name. Hold on. Okay. All right. For some reason, I can't see him on the participants list. Falang Mosene, please stop sharing. Oh, here you are. Okay. Got you. Found you. Okay. All right. And now I'm going to share my screen. All right, here we go. Can you see my screen? Can I get some thumbs up? Abdul Kader, Eric, Danielle, can you see my screen? Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so finally, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, a very, very warm welcome to our part 2 of our live session, which I call the Dr. Harnet's big live session on how to do business in Africa. And today we want to talk about your Africa business success. I want to touch on some success secrets and trend beyond COVID-19. So welcome to part 2. We had part number 1 last Sunday, and if you're joining on YouTube or you are missing this for any reason, you can also watch the replay of part 1 on YouTube. Today, again, I will share as much as I can with you during the course of this web class. I then want to show you quickly how you can work with me and my inner circle, and then we will dive into your questions at the end of this session as well. So again, for those of you who are new to me and the work I do, my name is Dr. Harnet. I am a certified business trainer. I'm an Africa business coach and consultant. I'm an entrepreneur now of 2 companies. I'm a speaker, an author, champion for Africa, and a proud mom of 2 sons. My work has been featured on Forbes Africa, on the Africa Business Club of KLM and Air France, at the renowned Africa CEO Forum, the Africa Business Conference at Harvard, where I led a panel, and I also spoke at Google in Silicon Valley. So let's check again if everyone is good to go. Are you ready? Give us a sign, put your yeses into the chat box on YouTube and on the Zoom room as well. Just give us a sign that you're ready, and we shall get started. I always love to, are you ready? You know, it's all about starting, well, the marathon rather, because starting a business and running a business and growing a business, especially in the context of Africa, is not an easy undertaking. It is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And for those of you in business already know that that is true. And you know, that is a wonderful image to kind of set the tone. So why today's web class is really important and vital to your success in Africa? I want to quickly share a story to give us some context. And that is the story of Blockbuster. So those of you who are in my generation and older, you will probably remember Blockbusters, especially if you were living in the US or in the West. And this was the hugely successful video lending chain, really. You could see the Blockbuster chain in blue color across cities in the United States, UK, and other European cities. And it was actually a multi-billion-dollar company lending these old video cassettes. So at that time when we were young, in our teenage years, we would, go to rent a video over the weekend. So you actually had to walk into a shop, choose the video you like out of the shelves and hundreds and thousands of videos, and take a few of them home, and you would pay for the rental of that video. And then you would need to return it a couple of days later. If you fail to do so, you get a penalty. And that was a billion-dollar business. And what do we make of such businesses? We believe that they're very successful. They're profitable, they're growing fast, they're expanding. And in most of our books, that would go down as a business that is successful. However, in the early 2000s, there was another competitor on the market, which is Netflix. And of course, today everyone knows Netflix. But at that time, it was really a completely unknown company. It was a startup. And at this point, many of you starting small may possibly wonder how you would ever be able to compete with the big guys. And Netflix came across in the US market based on video streaming through technology. And in fact, what many of you may not know is that around 2000, Netflix actually made an offer, or there was an offer on the table for Blockbuster to buy Netflix for $50 million US. Unfortunately, the CEO of Blockbuster thought that was a joke. He didn't really believe in this little startup that was crazy about tech. And guess what? Netflix took over the market, it became relevant, and it was the downfall for Blockbuster. Thousands of stores across the USA and the world of Blockbuster had to close, and the company filed for bankruptcy. So the reason why I'm sharing this story is because it really demonstrates the importance of understanding where the trends in the market are going. There was a small startup, such as Netflix, that understood the trends of the future and implemented them. And by understanding the trends of the future and implementing them, and thus becoming more relevant to the marketplace as they grew, they were able to take out a market leader, a powerful market leader, and replace them. And this is the context for today's web class, because I want to share some of these trends that are happening globally and what that then means for your business in Africa, trends that are happening on the continent of Africa. And unless we understand the power of the right timing and the power of integrating these trends in our businesses, we will either lose out, such as Blockbuster, no matter what our size is in our business. It may be small, medium size, or large, or we are able to thrive. Of course, visible for everyone, and we felt it in every single household on the globe, there was a pandemic happening across our planet. And on top of it now, as a result of that, we are facing one of the greatest economic downfalls apparently the biggest economic decline in history over the last 100 years or so. So that then means that we are really facing big new giants in terms of world and global market dynamics, including on the continent of Africa. And that is the pandemic and an economic decline. So most of us have really felt it in our own families, in our own households, in our own locations and countries, or we have watched it in the news. We have seen, dynamics unfolding that we have never imagined before and that we have never experienced in our lifetime. So these dynamics then are, first of all, significant because they impacted absolutely every area of the life of our lives, including the macroeconomy, microeconomies, and as a result of that, also supply chains, consumer habits, and preferences. What we also need to understand, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, is that this is not something that will go away in 2022. Even when we were here last year, a lot of people said, will 2021 be the time where we are going back to normal? And at the beginning of this year, I have presented a big live session on the big global reset. I will not go into detail in this regard, but I want to remind you that the dynamics that we are seeing, both in terms of the pandemic and in terms of the economic decline and the changing powers actually in this regard, are here to stay. In fact, based on climate change happening across the globe, we're also going to probably see more pandemics, at least that's what science says. So these significant changes that we are seeing is actually a kind of a remodeling of the world order. And those of us who have researched this in more detail will understand what that means in political terms, in economic terms, and also in terms of how we experience or will be experiencing the world, because it is not just about a new power struggle or a new world order among the superpowers, but it is also about those who are in power want to basically implement a new way of life. Again, I don't want to get into detail of that now. We've done this earlier this year, and I may do it again with some updates around the new year into 2022. But this is huge and it is major. And that then means that the way we do business, including our supply chains globally, you may be in manufacturing, you may be in real estate, you may be in import, export, trade, and so on and so forth. Our supply chain dynamics in the world will also continue to see changes. Now, many of us, of course, are worried by those developments. And especially because we have seen a lot of sacrifice and a lot of loss of life, loss of businesses, loss of economic status, loss of jobs, and so on. And that is a worrying scenario for many of us. However, I really want to point out that within the whole reshuffling of the global economy, including Africa, lies immense opportunity. Important is, in my view, that we're aware of it, that this is happening. We need to be prepared. And on top of it, we need to really have a mindset that looks out for new opportunities rather than worrying about the status quo. And especially also being aware of the fact that the way we used to do business will be changing, and we have to integrate the trends. that is, in my view, absolutely vital for the survival of your business in the next 5 to 10 years. So what does that then mean in the context of Africa in more concrete terms? And this is really what I would like to introduce you to today. Again, this is, of course, a very, very complex topic, and I want to give you some good insights that raise your awareness and some tips of how you can implement this in your own business. First of all, you really need to start with the question, is my industry of choice pandemic proof? And that is crucial because very often we are choosing industries or products or services that we either like or we are passionate about, or that have been in demand in the past, but they may not be in demand anymore in the future, or the dynamics may change. So first of all, let's have a look at industries that are actually seeing a growth during the pandemic. There may have been a decline, of course, at one point, a temporary decline, but there are industries where we can say, yes, even throughout a pandemic, these industries continue to strive, however, in a different manner. So let's have a quick look. So business in a pandemic-proof industry would, for example, be the agriculture and food production, retail and trade of such products, health, hygiene, wellness, and pharmaceuticals, again, including the trade and the retail of products and services within this industry. Furthermore, transport and logistics. Then we have e-commerce and digital solutions. E-commerce and digital solutions in particular, including the ICT, cybersecurity, and technology, are areas that can be implemented in every single sector or industry that you are planning to operate in or that you're operating in already. It is absolutely paramount, in my view, that you adopt digital solutions and technology in whatever business you are leading now. And there are ways in almost, I would say in the majority of businesses, even if you cannot see it right now, there is a way to produce or to promote, to market your products or to sell your products using digital solution and technology. Further than financial services, fintech, investments, and acquisitions, we also see a lot of auctions now happening, because people have, of course, lost their businesses, have lost their jobs. And as a result of that, these are areas, again, which are very lucrative. Real estate, housing, and related services, absolutely here to continue. It continues to grow, but we are seeing a lot of dynamics that are changing in that sector, and that's something that I would like to touch upon today. And then home entertainment, e-learning, and communication or online event industry. I've put them in a different color because they are not really the traditional big industries or sectors that we see in Africa. However, these are kind of some of the new industries that are coming up, where you can find, really niches for yourself to start your business or diversify into a different area. So that really sets the basis, the tone for, is my industry, first of all, pandemic proof? But then it continues to going a step further. Is my business model within my pandemic proof industry also pandemic proof? Or is my business model ready to adapt for the new world post-COVID? Let's have a look. Trend number 1, essential product businesses. So I'm saying trend number 1, but I'm not sure how many people, how many business owners or startups in Africa have actually noticed, or how many of them are taking a very conscious strategic approach towards building a business model that works. And this is something I always talk about, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters. especially during times that are so volatile as they are right now. It is so important that you take a strategic approach towards your business startup, towards growing your business as well, if you have an existing business. And so the key word really here is essential products. We live in a volatile world, but on top of that, Africa itself has emerging market economies. And in emerging markets, you have another aspect of, volatile aspect. And that really then means that you have to go for business models that really can stand or how do you say, withstand the wind or the storm that may be coming your way. And the key product here is essential products. So let's have a look. I just want to give you an example here from Kenya. In May 2020, this is a couple of months after the pandemic started, a study conducted by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers revealed that 91% of non-essential goods manufacturers saw a significant fall in demand, while 74% of essential good manufacturers had benefited from increased sales. This is absolutely significant and so important for you to recognize. Can you see how the majority of manufacturers that produce non-essential goods, such as food and skincare and so on, saw a significant fall in demand, and as a result of that, their business struggled for survival. Some of them had to, close, or they really had major losses. While on the contrary, those manufacturers that produce essential goods actually benefited and they saw an increase. I mean, this is huge. And if you're asking me, in regards, I'm applying this very consciously in my business, and I'm just going to give it away here a little bit. I want to dive into that much deeper with our academy members over the next few weeks, because when you're looking at the new business that I'm building in Rwanda, which is my Kibo, which is an online marketplace for agribusiness products, guess what? My entire team in Rwanda is very well aware that our key positioning, and we have many positioning factors that will allow us to stand out, but one of the key positioning factors is that we are focusing on essential products, because that is the future. That then means that I have decided very consciously and strategically not to include African products in general on my marketplace. For example, African toys, African arts, African clothes, and so on, but that I have decided to focus on food products and natural skincare products. Why? Because they are essential products. And even if the pandemic continues or another one hits or we face an economic downfall, the business will continue because we are trading through the platform food and natural skincare products. So I want you to review what are the products and services you are offering? How essential are they? Will they see a significant fall in demand, or will they thrive during times of hardship? This is a very important question you have to ask yourself going forward over the next 5-10 years, because again, we will see a lot of winds coming our way, because when the world order changes on top of a pandemic, we can assume that things will not go smooth across the globe. So when it comes then to essential products, we really see actually three trends that really work for you at the moment. Number one, as I have already mentioned, we have a pandemic. So essential products is pandemic proof. Number two, then in the middle, however, is that we also see a disruption of supply chains across the world. And what we have experienced as a result of that is because there was a shortage of supply chain, there was a disruption of supply chain, that those products that were deemed essential globally, they received a priority. While products that were non-essential, they suffered even more now because they had to, they were not kind of allowed in some instances. So, for example, we had a few carriers, even airplane carriers, a few cargo shipments, and some of the non-essential products were declined. But on top of that, also, we now see consumers across the globe, so be it in the West, be it in Asia, South America, and in Africa now, becoming much more health aware. And that's, again, where food-related products, food-related services, and the skincare that I mentioned, wellness products, superfoods, all of that also now feeds into the growth of consumers that are becoming much more health aware. Now, that puts Africa in a really powerful position. Why? Number one, because Africa was not the common supply chain for the globe. And now manufacturers, retailers across the globe are looking for alternative supply chains. And these supply chains can be found in Africa. And then Africa produces a lot of organic and natural products in regards to food and natural skincare, some of which cannot be found elsewhere in the world. And therefore, you have an entire new, almost undiscovered or a market that hardly anyone tapped into, unfolding now. And it is up to us to position ourselves in a way that we can play on the global stage in regards to supply chains, but also in regards to the supply of health-related food and services as they relate to consumer products and fast-moving goods, consumer goods. Trend number two, then, dear Africa business jumpstarters, in today's world: farmland purchase and development. And I want us to notice what some of the richest people do. So if we're looking at a person like Bill Gates, who is really known for, for tech and IT solutions. Of course, he's also investing, as we know, in very various industries, including health, and we may have, different opinions about him. We're not here to discuss. What I want to really make you aware of, that people like Bill Gates and billionaires across the world, especially in the United States, and millionaires, are heavily investing into farmland. Let us hear this, please. They're heavily investing into farmland. Bill Gates has closed some of his biggest stock investments on the stock market. The same is true for Buffett. They have sold millions and millions of dollars of stocks on the stock market, and have instead taken that money and invested into farmland. We should notice and ask ourselves, why is that happening? And again, it comes down to the fact that we are seeing not only a pandemic, not only an economic downfall, but we are seeing a change of world order. And this will happen, according not only to scientists or researchers, but especially about, listening to the people who have actually designed the new world order. Some of them are to be found in the World Economic Forum. And this is happening over the next 10 to 20 years, all right, the new world order. And as I've just mentioned, with the volatility of that, the uncertainties of that, including supply chains, the rich are now investing locally into farmland for food production, local food production. And when we are also following business moguls in Africa, such as Strive Masiyiwa, he himself has said, he's from Zimbabwe, I think he's based in the United Kingdom, he himself has said that the next big billion-dollar opportunity globally will be Africa's food industry, all right? So we are still kind of connecting to trend number one that we have just heard about. But the trend number two is now the farmland purchase and development is also in regards to investments. So you diversifying. So you may be in tourism or real estate or, you know, any other industry, and maybe you have some extra cash and you're kind of asking yourself, where shall I invest it to? Well, farmland, in my view, is the way to go. Farmland in the proximity, I would say, to the cities, so that you can actually produce for yourself if there is a problem in supply chain, produce for the market in the city, so local, regional, and possibly international production. All right, so you can start a business in this, or you simply become an investor because you want to make sure your money is invested well and you're taken care of. Okay, so having land where you can actually grow food, it is one of the most powerful investments, and one that I would say protects you in terms of your own supply and also your money. Your money may be put much better in African farmland than in an American bank right now, because I've touched on that. We are going to see a lot of banks struggling, and that means your money may not be safe. So I want to share a quick story actually here from Rwanda, you know, just to show you real life examples and that others are aware of these changes. So we took a little trip to one of the lakes, and I went with a friend of mine who wanted to show me some investment opportunities there. And we were meeting at the lake one of his friends who is, you know, I would say a very successful, influential, well-connected business person here in Rwanda, who has purchased huge amounts of land, hectares of land, a total of 70-something hectares of land. And initially, his plan was, look to the left-hand side, his plan was to build a resort, because after all, it's huge land at the lake with beautiful views. And he had already, prior to the pandemic, you know, talked to some of his business friends to invest with him, because they had a really big vision of what to build. And he had found some people who said, yeah, they're happy to invest. And then the pandemic hit, and he experienced that. And what it required of him and someone that is well experienced in business is to be flexible enough to let go of his big and very expensive and ambitious dream, to then be flexible enough to develop a different business model. And he made a complete shift. So he decided to go into agriculture instead. So whereas some of the land will still be used for real estate, he has shared with me that he is no longer putting all these millions into a huge resort, because it doesn't make sense in the times that we are living in now. Instead, he has the land already, and he can actually make by far more money and much faster. That is, I think, the key word, much faster, by turning this into farmland and producing food for the export market. And that is really the flexibility that is required of all of us to review, okay, what business idea did we have in mind? Possibly even what was our Africa business dream? How are we conducting business at the moment? And then the key question is here, is this still relevant to the marketplace? And will it remain to be relevant in the next 5 to 10 years? And is this the best way to get my return on my investment and to reach a thriving business in a short period of time? Trend number 3, real estate. Real estate sector changes. So real estate, as we have already seen in the beginning, is absolutely a sector, an industry that is here to stay and continues to grow. But we're seeing enormous changes, especially when we're looking kind of ahead where consumer habits are going. And the house that I have put here, a picture of the house, I think it's somewhere in Ghana, if I'm not mistaken. That is the kind of typical villa that we would see being built in their millions, across the continent. I mean, it's like this big house, maximum bedrooms, 5, 7 bedrooms. We have loads of them in Kigali as well. And when you look at the compound, there's hardly any space. The space has been used to build a big house. There's just enough space to put a car in, and then that's it. And what we can really see is that, this is not the future, or this is not what consumers want. It doesn't mean that you cannot sell these kind of houses. Of course, some of us are, but the point really is to understand where the market is going. And we have seen, also here in Kigali, when I see some of the villas that look similar to that, guess what? They're empty, or they struggle with finding buyers. I have, really looked into the real estate market offerings that have been around for some of them for a year, or even longer than that. Some of them a year and a half, and they're still sitting there. They're not being sold. While on the contrary, we see other real estate developments where they're already being sold before it's even finished. The development is not even finished and they're already selling. So what we need to realize is that the preferences are changing. And I love this picture. Of course, that's not something you can put up in the middle of Nairobi or Accra or Windhoek, but I just want to generally let you know, first of all, we want to cut down cost. So, these big, huge villas where most of the material is imported and they kind of look like every other villa in the city, as compared to something that is unique and where you take down the complexity. And I think this was just a beautiful photo by to show cut down cost and cut down the complexity of what you're offering. I'm not suggesting that you're starting to build rooms in rocks, but look, I mean, this is what nature has provided, and these look like luxurious rooms. Possibly an idea that you can replicate, but let's go back to the more serious stuff. So here's what's trending. Number 1, houses with outside space and gardens. This is so important, especially during the pandemic. We have seen people want to be able to spend time in their garden, to entertain in their garden. And this has really taken up a huge new priority, which is here to stay. Smaller units, then we can see auctions happening. You can see here in Kigali, even houses or small hotel units that would have cost maybe $3 million a couple of years ago, you can get them now for $1 million. And I mean, that applies to all sorts of property, of course. So auctions is a good opportunity at the moment. Then eco houses, very important. Eco houses built from local material. And the reason why local material is becoming so important is because imports are getting more expensive, but on top of that, we just heard there's a supply chain problem. And I can tell you about that. Even, they suggested my windows would take three months to arrive, because there is a problem in the supply chain of aluminium. Then all the prices are really, going higher and higher. So we saw a huge increase on the world market on prices for wood, especially if that is coming from abroad, prices on aluminium, I mean, you name it. And therefore, as much as you can use some of the local material, it will help you to cut down the cost. But on top of it, eco houses is also a trend that we are seeing. And look at the beautiful images to the right. Compared to the house that I just showed you, that big bunker house with 7 bedrooms, I am convinced that a small unit anywhere in Africa, an eco unit like this, modern, sleek, cost-effective, affordable, but still with a luxurious touch, very, very important, will sell much faster than these traditional houses or bulk houses that we've seen coming up like mushrooms across Africa, and they all kind of look the same. All right. So then affordable shared office spaces, unique spaces like the bedrooms in the rock, or again, like these eco houses, they stand out. Plus luxurious container units is also a trend that is, oh my God, fast growing in the West, especially in the United States and in Australia. If you are looking at YouTube videos of, it's called tiny houses, and most of them are, built on container basis of putting containers together. I mean, when you're looking at these YouTube videos, some of them have 1, 2, 3 million views. I mean, why? Because the demand for that is growing fast in the West, and very often Africa catches up. And we already see now the first container units coming up in Ghana, coming up in Kenya and other places. What I believe is very, very important, because the container units are not really affordable houses. It's not that Africans in the lower middle income class can really afford them. If you want to have good profit margins, you need to make sure that it gets the luxurious kind of feel and look. And I have seen some of the units that have been put together also in Ghana. I love some of the concepts, but to be very honest, I believe they could sell much faster if more was done on the visual, the design, and giving them a luxurious flair. Because at the end, the people who will be buying them will be mostly the diaspora, expats, foreigners, or some adventurous young Africans who can afford that. So really, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, it is, again, in my view, so important that you do not do business the way you've always done it, or the way everyone else in your industry is doing it. And the trends are here, and they're here to stay. And some of the trends that I'm mentioning will be growing very fast, such as eco houses, green building, for example. Now, if you are among the first to position yourself within that space, you will be very happy and profitable in the next, 5 to 10 years, rather than trying to catch up. And if you are able to really realize that trends are changing, and therefore your product offering has to change. You know, that is what it means to kind of look ahead and see where your industry is going. And again, you know, the quick example with blockbusters, who were very, very profitable, but they failed to see the changes and the changing demand and the changing trends in the marketplace, and they were busted. Okay, so trend number 4 then, national tourism and local entertainment, which again also can be related to the real estate industry. So is also good for you in real estate to see what's happening at this end. So national tourism and local entertainment, again, is really the way to go. We have seen huge declines in number of tourists across the globe. But what is more interesting even is that this trend has already happened prior to the pandemic. So for example, in Kenya, the country's tourism arrivals grew by 3.9% in 2019 in domestic tourism, while domestic tourism numbers, in Kenya recorded a 9.03% growth in 2019. Isn't that amazing? I mean, have you been aware of that if you're in the tourism industry? And the numbers are looking quite similar in other countries. In fact, a couple of years ago, government officials in Uganda and government officials in Ghana actually made a public kind of announcement or encouragement to really drive national tourism forward, so the country would not be depending so much on foreign tourists. And there's national tourism, and then there's the next kind of tier, which is regional tourism, which is also growing fast. So isn't that interesting to really recognize that even before the pandemic, in Kenya, for example, the domestic tourism was growing 3 times the rate than international tourism arrivals. And however, the Africa Business Jumpstarters, when you look across the tourism industry, the changes among the key players in the industry, this is you, the stakeholders in the tourism industry, if you are in that industry, they do not reflect the changing dynamics. And that is a real problem, because your business will be suffering, number one, but also the national economy is suffering, because now there is a huge gap to be filled, both in terms of job creation or job losses rather in this industry, but also in regards to contribution towards the GDP. So there is massive opportunity in really focusing on domestic tourism. I just want to mention one, because today I'm focusing more on the trends and not so much on business ideas. That is another topic of mine. But just to give you an idea, family entertainment, you know, in its own right, for those of us who have children of any age, be it small children or elementary school or teenagers, even young people, hands down, there's hardly anything that you can do with children. It is very, very restricted. The opportunities that you have are very small. You usually end up going to the same place, and at one point the children are bored to, you know, going to the same place again. And that is true across the continent of Africa, with maybe the exception of South Africa, which is by far more developed in this regard. Now, this then means that, you know, you're really doing 2 things here. Number one is you are building a kind of a pandemic-proof business, but on top of it, you are actually filling a space that has always existed. The need for family entertainment and domestic entertainment for families has always been there, even prior to the pandemic. Now it's becoming even more relevant because families are stuck, or they are not prepared to travel that far anymore to have fun. Look at some of these, let's say, business ideas or business models that I'm sharing here. We have so many swimming pools across Africa, but unless there's a huge resort somewhere at the beach, and even that is very, very rare, you hardly find a beautiful kind of water park. It could be easily done with slides like that. And the ones that you do find, I know one in Nairobi that looks similar to that one, but they're really not very well kept. They look kind of run down. And so this is an opportunity that you have, and it's not even such big of an investment if you are already owning, for example, a hotel or a family-owned business with a swimming pool. And I know some of you have that, including my Academy members. There were a couple. You could include something like that. Same like, look, for example, open air cinema. Please let us know in the comment section if you know a really, really good open air cinema anywhere in Africa. But this doesn't take much. And we were talking about land. If you own land in the city or in the proximity of the city, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to make a huge real estate investment into that land. You could bring a major, a mega screen like this one and start an open air cinema. But again, important is that you do it to a standard where people would be excited to visit, and it becomes one of the highlights of the city. And believe me, when you have a good entertainment, the word will spread very, very fast across the city. And then it could be something very simple, where you have maybe, again, a beautiful area of land that you could develop into a beautiful park. And then you make, barbecue areas and huts, like built-in barbecue huts and areas available. This is for my African American friends. I know how much you love your barbecues. I was born and grew up in Heidelberg, which was the headquarters of the American Army back in the days in Germany. And whenever I drove to school, I had to drive through the entire American Army district. And between the houses, there were barbecue, built-in barbecues, and even people leaving their barbecue stuff outside, throughout the year. And you can actually, if you build a very beautiful space, you can actually ask for entrance. And there is one space here also in Kigali, Sunday Park, where they are asking for entrance. They're allowing even weddings and for photography and so on. But people go there to do picnics and to do birthday parties and so on. And they're making money from the entrance and so on. So again, there's so much opportunity. Important, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, in my view, again, is that you are creative. And what I really wonder sometimes about is, generally, Africans are very creative, generally speaking. And I know I'm generalizing here, but because there's very often so much lack of things that people have to become creative in order to make things work. However, when we are looking at businesses, for some reason, everyone is copying everyone. And you're getting like 100 times the same thing. And it is very rare that you see a business that offers a product in any kind of industry that is more creative and that stands out. And if you are able to do that consciously, you will succeed because there's no one to compete with. Trend number 5, going green. Dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, this is my favorite subject, but I'm very convinced that this is one of the most important changes that we are going to see over the next 5 to 10 to 20 years. I've noticed, because first of all, I have lived in the West. I just moved here a year ago to Kigali. So I have noticed how much the going green is really happening among consumers in Europe, especially Germany, United Kingdom. But I've also noticed, because I've researched, it's a subject that is close to my heart. And I have done a lot of research. And I just mentioned in the beginning how we are positioning our online marketplace for Africa. And I have said that I used it as a strategy to offer only essential goods, right? That is a success strategy that I'm very consciously applying in my business. But on top of that now, we are building the first online marketplace that is going completely green. And I don't want to go into the details right now. I will share it again with my Academy members how we're doing it. But the point really is the reason why I'm doing it. This is more important. Why am I doing it? Not what or how. Why am I doing it? It's because we're seeing the world shifting fast in this regard. Major businesses, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, from Amazon to Nike, I mean, you name them, the big names are all working on making their products green. You have entire production lines now of major brands in the US, in Europe, really looking at how they can cut down their carbon emissions. Why are they investing millions and millions of dollars to change their manufacturing sites, to make sure everything is solar paneled, to make sure they're using eco-friendly material, you name it, packaging, manufacturing, the entire supply chain. Why are these giant brands investing millions of dollars? I will tell you why. Because number one, consumers want that in the West. And they're making choices, and they continue to make choices based on that. That's number one. They want to feel good. They're worried about climate change, especially if you then follow, the floods in Germany, in Belgium, and the Netherlands on a level that we have never experienced, or the fires in California that have always been there, but not on a level that we're now experiencing, or in Australia. So climate change is real, and we start to worry. Most of us anyway, but the consumers in the West most definitely. And I'm actually very happy to tell you that we did a survey among our suppliers in Africa for our company. So again, we have an online marketplace, and we did a survey among the suppliers who are featuring on our online place. And we asked them, what is our strength? And guess what? The first one was free promotion of their products on our website. And the second strength was that we're going green. This came as a complete surprise to me. I did not expect that. So among all the strengths that we are putting in a list, the second one was the fact that our company is going green was, in their view, a huge benefit. And so the second big dynamic that we are seeing is not just the consumer demands and the awareness is changing, but policies are changing. And this is huge, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, because policies are changing already. We're talking about policies in regards to imports, for example. In the European Union, there will be new standards of what can be imported, or you will need to pay at one point penalties if you're not able to cut down the carbon emissions, or your product has a high carbon footprint. And now this opens really two opportunities, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters. On the one hand, it opens the opportunity to really start a business around this industry, the industry of eco products, eco services around going green. And there is a big industry or a lot of industries that you can make this happen and start products. I've shared this in the past. Just to give you an example, to manufacture cups and plates from seaweed. Right? I've shown this earlier this year, where the seaweed, it looks like a plastic cup, but it's actually made of seaweed. And in 2 days, the whole thing will be melted down into the ground. Isn't that fantastic? So you could create an entire business around that, or in whichever industry you are right now, agriculture, trade, retail, construction, real estate, tourism, you name it. In whatever industry you're right now, bring a going green aspect into your industry. And that is, in my view, the way forward. More consumers would want that. But on top of that, you will be standing out. You will be able to offer something to the marketplace that others are not able to offer yet in Africa, because simply they are not aware or they are not prepared to change or to integrate that. But number two, you're actually preparing your business for the future, making sure that you are not among those who are noticing late and then trying to catch up, or who have to pay because you are producing products with a high carbon footprint. All right, this is very, very powerful, and it's going to be the next big talk of our time. All right, so get in now. You will be among the first movers. All right, and after the trends, I want to also share with you a few success tips. So success tip number one is to start small. You may be starting from scratch, a new business. You may be in business already and you are planning to diversify or introduce a new product or a new service, a new offering to the marketplace, or you may diversify into a new industry. It is so crucial to start small. And I really want to make you aware of that, because again and again, I see entrepreneurs, investors, coming into Africa, and they're almost putting all their eggs into one basket. So basically, they have a certain amount of money that they can invest or spend in, and they kind of put it all in. So starting small is very important now for two reasons, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters. Number one, because we are operating largely in an emerging economy where you do not have the data. And I've shared last Sunday in our part one that I personally know business owners, people who have done business in other countries and who had a lot of money to invest. They came in with a couple of million or even more and invested it into manufacturing, invested it into a certain retail chain, and they did not succeed. Number one is because, again, the data is not available. So very often when you do your market, when you do your market research in Africa, you may see or perceive that something is in demand. So let's take packaging. Is packaging in demand? Will manufacturers tell you we need packaging and we have to get it from China? Yes. So you will see a lot of research that is telling you packaging is in high demand. However, when you then come up with a manufacturing plant and you provide packaging, you may then suddenly find that your products are not shifting. And there are many reasons for that I don't want to discuss now so much in detail. One is, just to give you one reason is that when packaging is not just packaging. I mean, there's literally hundreds of ways how you can package something and the kind of material and sizes and so on that you would use. So you have seen that packaging is in demand, but when you go into one certain niche, you are actually only serving that particular small niche. You're not serving everyone who needs packaging. And therefore, your market may actually be much, much smaller than you have imagined. But on top of that, there are other challenges that you have simply not taken into consideration. Yeah, it may be something that you are planning to put an agricultural plot up and you're trying to produce something, and suddenly you notice your team is not cooperating. You know, they're unreliable. Maybe they're taking from you, they're stealing. Unfortunately, it happens, you know, for various reasons. And you may not have been aware of that or have not taken that into consideration, or because you are new, you're not aware of the dynamics. Now you've put all your eggs into one basket, and now what? So generally speaking, you have missing data in Africa, but you also have not been able to really experience the dynamics of what it means to produce a new product. And again, this may be as a startup or as an existing business branching into a new offering to the marketplace. And in my view, it is so vital that you're doing a kind of a test period first. Yeah, it may feel like it's you know, taking a bit of your time, because it will take the same time to set it all up for a small kind of an outcome or results. But this will save you from so much heartache, because you will learn so much during this test period of starting small, where you really put out a fraction of what you had planned, where you put out a smaller kind of version, a smaller unit, a kind of a demonstration. And that allows you to actually test the market in real terms. Is the demand really there? What do the processes look like? What are the market dynamics? Then you learn from that. And guess what? Not only have you reduced your risk, but it will also inform you for your real round now what to improve and what to do better. And that's when you make the real money, not on your first round of getting started. So please keep that in mind. This was always the case for Africa, because we are talking about emerging market economies where data is not available and the dynamics on the ground could be very different from what you're expecting. But on top of that, it's becoming even more relevant now in the times of pandemics and economic kind of hardship across the globe, because now the entire globe is more volatile, including your supply chains and your business networks and your ability to move across the planet. And those are now two very, very significant reasons why starting small is not the attitude of a broke, and I know many of you feel broke, but this is not the attitude of a broke entrepreneur in Africa. This is the attitude of a smart entrepreneur in Africa. No matter if you have $1,000 in your bank account or $1 million in your bank account. Start small and build from there. Again, you know, also take into consideration when you're starting small that you are really keeping it kind of down to earth. What you also want to do in the risk reduction in this regard is to not come up with big flashy offices and trying to impress everyone, but really also seeing, okay, if worse comes to worse, would I still be able to run my business, or at least aspects of my business, online or through technology or from my home? This is something where I believe you should really sit down and understand where the risk may arrive, and how you can reduce the risk. The other aspect here comes, and we're just talking about starting small. And that is, of course, to test the market dynamics. But let's say then you have tested it and it becomes successful. You have proven that the market really wants what you're offering. The next aspect here is then, in my view, to simplify and slow down your expansion. In these times, dear Africa Jumpstarters, during the times of a global uncertainty, quite frankly, including in Africa, the more complex your business offering is, the more complex your entire business structure is, and the faster you go into expanding that, the more will you increase your risk. And therefore, another success strategy here is to simplify your business and to slow down the expansion. The example here of Nakumatt supermarkets in Kenya and beyond Africa, beyond Kenya, across other countries in Africa, is an example of that. You know, it proved to be successful. And of course, there was gross mismanagement. Gross mismanagement also happens, you know, if your business is too complex. And let me just remind my children not to argue so loudly, please. Thank you very much, dear boys. So it's the complexity of your business also then allows for more space towards mismanagement when you're putting people in charge. But another reason why Nakumatt failed was also because they expanded so aggressively and rapidly, and that can never be a good thing. It is actually the reason for the downfall of a lot of big businesses in Africa and globally, that the expansion happens too fast, and that causes a lot of risks. There was also tax issue, but again, you know, once you are expanding too fast and you then notice that there's a miscalculation of your expansion strategy. Now you're trying to make up for the loss by avoiding taxes. So this is not a good strategy in Africa, and especially not during these times post-COVID-19. Remember, again, while you start, always ask yourself, I just want to put this out as a reminder, is what I'm doing pandemic proof, and is it economic downfall proof? Or let's call it, can it withstand you know, a volatile time? Success tip number 2 is to integrate technology and remote tools. And for some sectors, this has become very, very common. Let's take, for example, the transport and logistics industry. You know, it's become common to integrate technology and remote tools to track drivers and things like that. But then there are other industries where this is not as common. Agriculture is certainly also an industry trying to catch up. But then there are industries such as, again, for example, real estate or the hospitality industry, where technology and remote tools is something that is not widely integrated. However, again, there's so much space to do that and be among the first to do so. I've shared, you know, examples in the past that in terms of the real estate industry, for example, there's so many people who want to buy either for themselves or to invest, frankly, in Africa. Many of these people are not even on the continent yet. It may be the diaspora, you know, foreign investors and so on. But hardly anyone in real estate in Africa provides, for example, 3D models. And when I say 3D models, I don't mean a 3D drawing. What I mean is the 3D view where you can click on the house and you can actually kind of walk in at your laptop. You have the feeling of walking into the house. You can turn you know, the mouse around, and you can actually have a 360-degree view of the house on the space. giving you a very hands-on view what the house looks like. And that would increase investor confidence. At this point, everyone feels like they have to travel to Africa in order to purchase. And this kind of 3D and 360 view model is hardly anywhere available. Would be a great way to position yourself, especially if you want to sell to the diaspora or foreigners, for example. Success tip number 3, be flexible and innovative. I mean, this is really, really big, and it kind of summarizes everything I've been saying so far. And that is that, for you to really understand that those who stay stuck in the way they've been doing things or the way the industry has operated in their country for over the last 10, 20 years, they will not be able to catch up with the changing times. And what it's really required is from you that you take on an attitude that is flexible and innovative. Success tip number 4, of course, is to diversify your income streams. And I want to say just a couple of things here, because it's very important to understand when to do it and how to do it. So what I would certainly not recommend is, if you are among those who are just about to start a business in Africa, I do not recommend to diversify too early. In fact, the opposite is true. If you're in the beginning of your journey, diversifying too early, frankly, just takes off the focus from what you're trying to achieve. Because even when you're within an industry, or let's even say agriculture or tourism offerings, and you are using your land to produce too many different crops, well, it's not just the land and you growing these crops, it's then to also understand how to store these crops differently, how to warehouse them, how to transport them differently. It's about to understand who is buying which crops, what are the markets looking like, what are my sales strategies looking like. So this is not just you simply owning a piece of land and growing different things. You are now diversifying, but in a way that actually is paying you a disservice, because you're losing the focus on one path towards success and the strategy, and you're now trying to wrap your head around so many different products, really, with different demand and a different clientele. And in the beginning, that is going to really divide your energy, your focus, and therefore will be detrimental to you making progress fast. Okay, that's very important to understand. So I would suggest you can always test, that's fine. So if you're saying, okay, but I don't really know what works, absolutely. Test different products for 2 months, for 6 months, to see the difference and to make a more informed decisions. Okay, this one works. There was high demand for this one. This one is really a headache. Let me cut this out. That is good, but do this with a conscious decision that this is your testing period. I would then only diversify once your business is set up, you know what you're doing. You have positive cash flow. You have additional money coming in that you can now invest. After taxes, you have some money left in the bank, and you can now decide to invest this into other areas. Diversifying your income is absolutely vital, not just in the context of Africa, where again, we have volatile markets, but also in the context now of pandemics and the volatile globe, where we don't really know what's coming next. And frankly, I have seen people here, for example, in Kigali, who were in the tourism industry. And the reason why they survived after all the tourists stayed away is because they had other businesses that kept them going. And you may be in a similar position, even personally. Maybe you have lost your jobs, but your job, but then there was an income from a rental or an income, I don't know, from cryptocurrency or something like that. So the Africa Business Jumpstarters, in these times, if you have only one income from your one job or from your one business, and there's only one income stream in that business, and again, this is not the startup phase, but 3-4 years into your business, then you're really at risk, absolutely at risk of losing it all and finding yourself in difficult positions. So diversifying your income is not an option. It's a must in these times. And success tip number 5, the Africa Business Jumpstarter, is to grow your mindset daily. And I know this is an area where many of us are saying, oh, yeah, absolutely, I know that already. Or I'm not here for business mindset. I'm here to learn success tips of how to make it in Africa. I get it, absolutely. But you are the driver in your business. So that means your success actually depends on you and the decisions that you take in your business. And therefore, your attitude, but also your mindset in terms of having a success mindset, having an abundant mindset instead of a poverty mindset, or having a flexible mindset instead of being stuck in a conventionalism mindset, or how prepared am I to step into the unknown, or how much am I someone who actually thrives just knowing that I'm secure all the time. And so all of that becomes absolutely vital in understanding your path towards success. And in particular, in the context of Africa. Why? Because guess what? Doing business in Africa is generally much more challenging. You need much more patience, you need much more flexibility and so on. And unless you have the right mindset and you are prepared, you will lose it. You will lose the race. Now, when we're looking at some of the leading business owners in the world, and some of the big motivators, such as Tony Robbins and so on, they say that actually 5% is skill, or 10% is skill, and 90% is mindset. Yet when we are talking about business success in Africa, we're talking about the industry and the products and the supplies and the data and what the consumers want and where do I start my business? Shall I start it in Tanzania or Ghana, or there's corruption, or he's not paying me, he's paying late. I mean, we're talking about all the issues that we are facing and that we feel are tangible. And I'm surprised again and again by how many business owners and entrepreneurs are really working on expanding their mindset. So if you ask me, how did you make it from broke and broken? If you're broke and broken, or if you're broke and you have money problems, it is usually, by and large, at least, if that has been happening throughout your life, it's by and large because you have a poverty mindset. So if you ask me, what are the main steps that I took to transform from there into being successful in Africa? It was changing my mindset. And working on my mindset is absolutely my number one priority. And now that I know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm at a very good place, financially free, and earning more money that I need, I'm actually now focusing also on my spiritual ability, which means the art of happiness. So I like that comparison that I've heard. Doing business is a science. There's certain steps. If you follow those and you have the right mindset, you'll make it. There's no question about it. But then becoming happy and really having a wonderful work-life balance and being truly happy in all areas of your life, that is an art. understanding happiness. But all of it is down to the kind of mindset that you have. And so I want to quickly say something about that, because frankly, you will not succeed or grow to the next stage in your business unless you actively expand as a person. And one of my favorite kind of facts to put out there, I think it's a fact, is that you cannot get there as the person you are right now. Let me say it again. Wherever you want to reach in life, you cannot get there as the person you are right now. Otherwise, you would already be there, unless you're in the middle of, really growing and developing personally. But this is, I think, a really profound realization that the reason why you are in life, and this is in regards to business, it's in regards to success, your money habits. You may even make a lot of money, but then still not have a lot of money, or you make a lot of money, but you're still stressed and not happy. So it relates to your health, to your relationships, to your general well-being, and how content and happy you perceive yourself to be, how you show up in the world, and what life represents back to you. And you cannot reach your goal wherever you want to reach in life, or wherever you see yourself in an ideal scenario, as the person you are right now. Because the person you are right now has a certain set of thoughts and emotions, and therefore you took certain actions and decisions as a result of that, who brought you where you are right now, hands down, all areas of your life. The beauty of that is that you can really change that if you realize that it is all in your control. And I always say all in your control, unless you are a refugee somewhere, trapped in a refugee camp, or among human traffickers. Okay, so I'm not talking about these extreme examples. What I'm talking about is the majority of us, who kind of, we have the freedom to decide what we want to do, and the decisions are up to us. And it is crucial that you understand you have the control and you have the power, but it takes to become that person. So here's something very, very, a huge eye-opener I learned in business. There were times in business, absolutely, where I found myself struggling, or I found that I'm putting so much energy and effort and time into it, and somehow I would not see the results that I really hoped for. Somehow I would still not be financially where I wanted to be. And what I would have done in the early years is trying to find the mistake somewhere in my business. Okay, maybe it's not the right marketing image. Maybe I need to change that image. Maybe it's the product and I need to change the product. And while all of that has its place, and it's important that you review and you see where you can make improvements and amendments, what I really learned is the reason why I was stuck is because I had not progressed as a human being in terms of my own personal development, because the success, the business success, meets you. It is a reflection of where you are as the business owner and the entrepreneur. It's never the other way around. Yet when something doesn't work for us and we feel stuck or broke, or we don't see the financial success or just the impact of our business in Africa that we would like to see, we usually try to find the tools to tweak something. So we want to kind of fix this, and then the success will follow. But what I really found out was that grow yourself first. And that can be done sometimes in weeks or months. Grow yourself first through some realizations, some habits, releasing some belief systems and replacing them with new ones. Grow yourself first to become that person that then deserves to make the 100,000 or to make the 1 million or whatever it is that you want in life, or who gets the freedom, So unless you become that person, you cannot have that experience. And that is why working on yourself, every single day, and understanding that this is an area that is huge and deep, and it's one of my favorite topics. The Academy members know. I cannot go into detail here. I offered, as you know, another live session for all of you on my major mindset hacks that I use that hardly anyone uses. But you opted for we did the survey, right? And you kind of voted for this topic, which is an important topic as well. But just for you to know that this is a topic not to be underestimated. If you're struggling, it's because you are not working on your mindset or on growing yourself to become the person that you have to be in order to experience that level of success or financial gain or impact or freedom. All right. So, dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, today I tried again to cover as much as I can in the short span of a web class to show you how the world is changing and how we in our African businesses have to adjust to survive. Yes, again, another shout out to really preparing your mindset, because volatile times are here and they are here to stay for some time. And unless we have some stamina to deal with, those setbacks and with these changes that we're experiencing in the world, I mean, this is just another reason why you should also work really on yourself, because again, you are the leader of your business. And so I have tried to cover as much as I can. The time is always very short, and we want to go to Q&A as well. But before we do, let me quickly stop screen sharing and just check. Are you still all there? Okay, fantastic. Because I can't see you. Okay, thank you. Because I can't see you. I'm just literally just talking and hoping that you're still all there and listening and taking notes. And again, I'm going to dive into the Q&A, but before I do, I want to extend another invitation to join my inner circle, the Africa Business Academy, where we really dive into the kind of topics that you have heard today every single week, but then we do it in the context of your business idea and your business concept. So please allow me to quickly extend that again. Can I quickly make a final kind of contribution to show how you can work with me and my inner circle, which is the Africa Business Academy? Let me know in the chat box. I always kind of want to ask for your go ahead in this regard. And I know some of you have heard it yesterday, but I want to extend that again. Thank you so much. Let me know if it's okay if I quickly share that, and then we go into the Q&A. All right, it is okay. Yes, thank you. Oh, oops, okay. All right, I know that most of you want to dive immediately into your Q&A, but guess what? I'm going to make sorry, I just opened something here that's covering the page. Here's what I want to show you. What I want to, are you still here? Okay, sorry, I clicked on something wrong. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to extend an invitation to join our Africa Business Academy, which is my inner circle. And now I want to observe yourself, how you feel when I do this, because what I'm doing is I'm selling to you. I'm going to sell to you the vision of the Africa Business Academy and the benefits that it will give to you. And I want to observe how you feel while I'm selling this to you, because this is an exercise we do also in the Academy and also during my live workshops in New York and in London. Because if you're in business, you're in the business of marketing and sales. Otherwise, you would be in an NGO or a charity. You're in business to make money, let's name it, right? So if you are feeling a discomfort, either selling or being sold to, then you have a money mindset challenge. that you need to solve before you can actively start selling yourself. This is something that's very important to recognize. I had a major money mindset issue, and that's why I struggled, first of all, financially, and why I struggled to make sales in the beginning. First of all, of course, there's the lack of understanding how to sell in the beginning, but you will be surprised how many of us have a very, very distorted relationship towards money and towards sales. And so please sit back, see what I have to offer, and if this is of benefit to you. Let me go back to the screen share, and then we go into the Q&A. All right, so, sorry, just lost the slide here talking to you. Okay, here we go. All right, so dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, as most of you know, I have my Africa Business Academy, which really is my inner circle. And again, I see many of our ABBA members sitting in the live session, which I absolutely love because they would not need to. We have a live session like this every Sunday. And this gave you a taste of what we do at the Africa Business Academy. The Africa Business Academy is my inner circle of members where we really meet and discuss how to bring your business ideas, your business concepts, and the business that you have idea, how we bring them forward and take you to the next stage by cutting down cost, time, and risk. All right, this is what I focus on as a business trainer in the academy. I focus on how we can cut down for you cost, time, and risk. And this is huge because Africa is full of risk as emerging market economies. And as you have heard, in the last session on Sunday, that the majority of businesses across Africa fail, the majority of startups. And the reason for that, in my view, quite frankly, is because most business owners have no clue what they're doing. How would we know? We have never been taught how to do business unless we're coming from a family that or parents that have successfully run businesses and have taught us how to do that. So here's what you're going to get when you're joining the Africa Business Academy today. You instantly become a respected member of our Africa Business Academy with close to 300 active members. This means that you will have immediately access today to the following. First of all, access to myself, your business trainer and coach. I'm also a entry strategist for Africa. And I really have made it my expertise to show you success strategies and to show you how to succeed in Africa. As I always say, we don't have many of these mentors and coaches and trainers available across the African continent. I always encourage or would hope that one day we see some of the very successful business owners across the continent train and teach and consult others how to do it the right way so we can learn from their mistakes. You get 1 year access to myself, to insights such as those that we have shared today, 1 year every single week. And I will make the difference now is that within the academy, I will make suggestions and give you advice in the context of your own business. So we really teach, or I teach at the Africa Business Academy, that there are 3 stages. The stage number 1 is the early stage where you find yourself, juggling with, shall I start and which industry and which business and which country and which product and so on. And that is the stage 1. So you're at the very early stages trying to find the right business model. And we have a lot of academy members that are at this stage. I assist you with the selection of your industry, and which best market in Africa to start. And especially with the business model, the selection of your business model, and also how to improve your business model so you become cost effective, you become relevant. This is what we heard today, how to become relevant in these changing times and how to remain relevant, and how you could change your business model in a way that reduces the risk for you. All right. Then at stage 2, you're really already building your business. So we have a lot of ABBA family members. We call the Africa Business Academy the ABBA family. We have a lot of ABBA members who are already at this stage actively building their businesses. We then talk about how to set this up, how to find local partners, and how to find these local partners in a strategic manner so that these partners actually want to do business with you and or recommend you or open doors for you. This includes government partners in Africa. How do you position yourself and communicate the value that your business brings to the marketplace in a way that business partners in Africa, both from the private sector and from government, seek you out and they want to partner with you or they want to open doors for you? And then one of my favorite topics really is how to position your business in the marketplace. I think this is one of my my top skills. Everyone is good at something, and I'm very, very passionate about the positioning of your business. So you're not doing something like everyone else does, and you are making the trends work for you. So you position yourself in a way that is powerful. So you're not in the business of hope, but you're in the business of strategically preparing for your success. And then in stage 3, we also have ABBA members, and that is a smaller group, but we do have them. And I know some of them I've also privately coached who have already very successful businesses. One of the last ABBA members that I have privately coached, he had a big paint manufacturing company in Nigeria, already making $1 million, and he still found value by coming into the academy where we mostly have people in stage 1 and 2. But he said, hey, you are teaching things that I was not aware of, and I want to pick out those gems and make sure I implement them. And so this is the kind of the success path that you have to follow. But I just want to let you know, it doesn't matter at which stage you are in your business. The Academy is there to bring you some gems and to guide you the right way. And however, most of our ABBA family members are in stage 1 and 2. And yeah, coming up this Sunday, dear ABBA family members, those of you in the room, I want to run a workshop this Sunday where we work on improving your Africa business model very smartly. So for all of you who are signing up to the Academy today, you will be able to attend our live hangout, which we have again every Sunday. The live hangouts in the Academy are always being recorded. And this Sunday, I decided to run a workshop with our ABBA family where we discuss your unique business models. They may be at idea stage or conceptual stage, or you're already in business making money. And I want to really discuss your business models and see how we can amend and improve some of your business models and your next steps in a way that they fit into the changing times as we have discussed today, and also to make sure we can speed up your progress and reduce your risk. The reason now, again, why I'm sharing this is, I want to make it very tangible for you. This is what you get in the Academy. So you will find a poster like that being shared in our private Facebook group, our networking foyer, and also being emailed to you a few days prior to our Sunday meetings. And the good thing now is that we can actually discuss your own business model. And those of you who are engaged and who are visible, I know exactly what our ABBA family members who are engaged and visible, what they're working on. I know which country they're in, which business model they're working on. and that allows me then as a trainer to really give you hands-on advice. But I'm not the only trainer and coach and consultant in the academy. There is 3 more of us, so a total of 4 of us who are very regularly coming. So the other ABBA coaches, again, is Pamela, who is an agribusiness expert. She has a wealth of experience. She has started her own business in Uganda, started with 10 women farmers, widows in agriculture, and has grown it really to 10,000 farmers. She has an outreach of 10,000 farmers in Uganda now, producing her own brand, Asante Mama. And Asante Mama is a beautiful brand of spices and cocoa and herbal teas coming out of Uganda. She has featured them or has them in supermarket shelves across Belgium and the US as well, and other countries in Europe. And she closed a deal with a supermarket chain with over 300 outlets for her products not long ago. She also has worked at the UN, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO, for over a decade. So she has like 20 plus years of working in Africa in the agricultural sector. Then we have Akosua, who is our Ghana expert and PR expert. Again, as I said on Sunday, Akosua really knows the who is who in Ghana, up to the president's office, and she brings amazing contacts. Usually she brings in a guest speaker from Ghana, someone who shows you how to do business in Ghana, someone who introduces a concrete investment opportunity in Ghana, and then you can call them up and invest with them. So she's our Ghana expert. And then we have Chinonso out of Nigeria, who is in the middle of building his fast-growing company, Sabi Writers, which is a writing service company. And he has started from scratch in his bedroom now, I would say 2.5, 3 years ago, so very recently, right? And he's at 45 plus staff now. He has 45 plus employees. And the reason why I say plus is because I don't have the latest. So it's probably around 50 employees now, because his company is growing so fast in Nigeria that, look, 50 employees in 2 to 3 years. I mean, he has a lot to share with you, and he coaches a lot on sales and marketing, and especially also how to build reliable teams in the context of Africa, because unreliable teams or slow working teams is a challenge, as many of you have experienced. Here is just another example of the kind of live hangouts we do in the academy. This one was led by Akosua also not long ago. When was it? Oh, in March this year. Beyond the return, a Q&A with Diaspora Affairs at the Office of the President of Ghana. So the Diaspora Affairs Director himself, and I have visited their offices a couple of years back. Their office is inside the Office of the President. And the director himself came to speak to our academy members and to answer their questions, in regards to everything, investing in Ghana, how to start a business, the kind of support they can get from the Diaspora Affairs Office, citizenship, and so on and so forth. So this was just, these are 2 posters. Again, this is what you may get in a single month, because we're doing 3 to 4 of these live sessions, usually weekly, every single month. Again, you will also get winning business training videos. So what we do in the academy, Dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, we teach you how to do business in Africa. We show you how to improve your own business model and your positioning in the context of Africa. But we also teach business. And I teach, key areas that I would like to say have been absolutely vital to turn my business around. When I started, it is a little bit, like a wood where sometimes you don't know which direction to go and you feel so confused because there's so many things to do. And I have experienced that it really comes down to a few things that you have to master to make progress in your business fast and to reach your financial goals. And that's why I'm teaching in video format as well. And lastly, of course, we have the ABBA community. It's a beautiful community where we connect also outside of ABBA. Several of our members have formed business partnerships or have created networks and even friendships. And if you sign up today, you will also get access immediately to the, I think it's a 12 module video it's the video that I was teaching in New York City in the Africa Business Bootcamp, which is really my life flagship program. And the last one just took place just before the pandemic. So you will get access to the recording as well. And there we really were sitting in the room for 16 hours, learning every step in regards to how to build your African business from scratch. And you will get a summary of all these steps via the training video. And yeah, again, you probably think, what is my investment? So are you ready, the Africa Business Jumpstarters? Because your investment, and this is what it is, it's an investment in yourself, in your future. It's an investment in your business. And the investment to join the Africa Business Academy is $97 per month. Crystal is in the room. She will share the link for you to join the Africa Business Academy today. This is the last time I'm offering it this year in 2021. And I would frankly say, if you are planning to start a business in Africa, or if you're in the early stages and you want to get some of these insights that you may simply not be aware of, then the $97 investment is an investment in yourself, but also an investment in your progress and an investment in your risk reduction. Again, 80% of businesses in Nigeria in the first 2 years fail, and around the same number, 75 to 80% in Kenya. And these are, by the way, numbers that I received from research companies or bodies in those countries. So again, these are actually the numbers across the world in terms of a very, very high startup failure. The odds generally are against you. Africa, on top of that, is a region where you cannot foresee things as easily, and operating in that environment is not as easy as it would be in the West. Opportunity is huge, but so is the complexity of really knowing what you're doing. And therefore, I would say hands down, $97 is an investment worth it if you can get faster to your goals in less time, less cost, because guess what? If you're taking a lot of time trying to figure it all out, or if you're running into risk, that will cost you dearly. And that is the kind of calculation you have to make. How much is my time worth? How fast do I want to achieve my goal? How much worth are some of the gems? Again, it's not that you may need everything that we're sharing in the academy. Some of it may be relating to other industries, or you may know it already. But the gems that you're getting out of that may be worth, many times that money, that investment that you made. So again, Crystal is sharing the link with you. And this is a 1-year ABBA membership, $97 per month. If you're paying the whole thing at once, so you're paying the whole year at once with a single payment instead of a monthly payment, the single payment is $997. I will throw in for you my importing from Africa program as well. As you know, this is another flagship program of mine, worth $497. And I will throw this in for free if you sign up to the entire year and make one payment. But you can make monthly payments for the year, $97. And again, Crystal is sharing the link for those of you on YouTube. Crystal, please share it in the chat box of YouTube. If you miss it for any reason, I will also share it after the live hangout or this live session below in the comment section of YouTube as well. Okay. All right. So let me stop sharing and let's go to our Q&A. So, as I've mentioned yesterday, if this feels right for you to join the Africa Business Academy, go with it. And the reason why I say go with it is because it's so important that you start to take different decisions from the decisions you would have taken in the past. Remember when I said you have to become, someone else in order to get different results in life. And that then requires that you take different decisions, because different decisions will get you different outcomes in life. And that's what I have practiced hands down, big time when I started my business. I took myself completely out of my comfort zone. I invested tens of thousands in my personal development, being coached and trained by some of the best in the world, personally and also in the group setting. Again, group setting is also, I see the coach on stage. I've traveled the world to be coached and trained by some of the best in the world. Most of them, as I said, were Americans that have no idea how to do business in Africa, but still I was learning so much from them. And this is how I reached where I reached, because I heavily invested in myself, in my self-education, becoming a savvy businesswoman, and that brought me where I am today. But by you joining the Business Academy, I'm also teaching you what I've learned from some of the best in the industry. And when I say some of the best in the industry, these are very well-known names, some of the multimillionaires and the success motivators and success trainers that are household names usually, especially in the United States. So the knowledge, that's what I'm also then sharing with you. So again, if you think this is really not for me, quick decision, this is not for me, absolutely fine. It's a no. And that's good. But if you're feeling like this could really benefit me, or this could help me to make progress faster, or I may know a lot, but I may actually find some gems in there that I'm not aware of that could turn things around for me, then go ahead and join us, because that is the kind of success attitude to have. And before I go into the Q&A, last time I shared the story where I heavily invested. This was my first program. It was a 1-year program where I invested $10,000 US. And I was already at that time, 4 years, nearly 4 years, 3.5 years into my business. And that means I knew a lot in regards, especially to marketing and sales, because I had, self-educated myself so much. I still spent the $10,000 US for this 1-year training program. And it was in Amsterdam when we were trained for 5 days. And I was sitting in hearing the basics of marketing. And again, I've self-educated myself, so I knew that. At no point was I thinking, I wasted my money. I already know that. I wasted my money. I already know that. What I was doing instead, I was looking for the gems. That guy there on stage is a multimillionaire. There's something that he does that I'm not doing yet. And therefore, I was just so happy to be there, being in that space with like-minded go-getters. That's something else you get in the academy. Instead of working in loneliness, confusion, maybe you have family partners who don't agree. They have no idea why you're doing what you're doing, or even talking you out of that. Having that community is huge. But then my coach dropped the gem for me at that $10,000 1-year program. And he said, you have to spend 60 to 80% of your time on marketing and sales. And in those 5 days, and I'm talking hands-on training from 7 a.m. in the morning to midnight. We didn't have like an easy ride, 7 a.m. in the morning to midnight. Okay, sometimes we would end at 10 or 11, it's midnight until we get into the room. And it was that particular jam that I never forget in these 5 days where he said, you have to spend 60 to 80% of your time on marketing and sales. That was my personal jam in those 5 days. And I took that away. I went home, I implemented that jam, and guess what? My business doubled in 2 to 3 months. That's it. A poverty mindset would have sat in there. I didn't spend 10,000 US dollars for learning marketing advice, basics. I've already learned that. You can get that for free on YouTube. That would have been a poverty mindset. An abundant mindset, a success mindset is, there is some gem out there for me because that person knows something I do not know. And if I apply that gem, it will change my business around. Hands down, I've made back those $10,000 multiple times. All right. So this is the attitude to have if you want to succeed in business in Africa in life. And let's go to the Q&A. Crystal, please share the Academy link again. Join our Africa Business Academy today. Do a different decision from the past. Show up, engage, apply, learn, grow, and do things differently than you have done in the past so you get different results. That's the formula. All right. So let's go to Q&A now. I always take whoever I see first. Let me go to the participant list. Okay. Speaker view. No, hold on. For some reason, I cannot see who is, I can't see the list, but nevertheless, oh, here it is. Okay. So just wave in. Okay, fantastic. Whoever is visible first will go first. So I can see Ishak. I can see Annie. Wave into the camera if you have a question, and I will give you some guidance. I can see Tupik. Fantastic. You don't need to raise your hand electronically. I want to raise, you know, the old times where there was no electronic hand to raise. You would just be exactly. That's the way we go. Okay, go ahead, please. Ishak, Annie, and then Tubik and Bathsheba. Oh, I need to, sorry, guys, you're still imprisoned. Hold on. I need to release you. Hold on. I need to actually allow you to. Okay, so I'm allowing participants to unmute themselves. Please only unmute yourself if you are called to ask a question. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Go ahead. I've enabled it now to unmute yourself.
Great. So I'm from Denmark. I have Ugandan roots. I'm planning on to go back to test whatever demand is out there. My plan is to go into different hotels and restaurants, about 20 of them, and ask them what challenges are their restaurants facing. What foods are they in need of? But I'm also wondering, is there anything else I should be asking them when reaching out to them, to the managers?
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Ishak. Yeah, thank you. So that's a brilliant strategy that I also have shared in the past. Absolutely. You know, yeah, I've always said when you reach out to restaurant managers, be it of restaurants or hotels, you can also reach out to the head chef. So usually when I'm on these restaurants, you know, and then I eat there and then I say, could I have a chat with the restaurant manager? Or could I have a chat with the head chef? And then I will ask them exactly what you have suggested. I would ask them, okay, so what kind of products are you sourcing locally? What kind of products are you sourcing regionally? What kind of products are you sourcing internationally? From the products that you're sourcing locally, which ones are the ones that you're facing supply challenges with? And which ones are the products that you would really love to source locally, but you can't get them? These restaurant managers and chefs are full of data. It's amazing. I mean, the insights you receive, especially if you're into the business of food, agricultural production, is very, very valuable. The challenge now, Ishak, while this is absolutely a good way to go forward to get real kind of information from your potential clients, it's a kind of a market research. The challenge you may be facing now is that some of them have now other challenges or problems because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So they may be struggling completely in regards to getting enough guests or tourists, or they had business losses over several months. They're trying to catch up. And so let's say you need to kind of make your questions relevant to that, because times have now a little bit changed, and in the front of their mind, maybe some other challenges now as compared to getting access to prunes or apples. You know what I mean? So I think, Ishak, what's important is to first ask, what are the main challenges? Some restaurants have absolutely revived. They're back to normal numbers. Some haven't. And I think it's important to understand, okay, what is it that's missing? What has changed? Even the consumers may be coming back. Now that they're back, has something changed in terms of what they're asking for, in terms of their order, in terms of their behavior, their preferences, and so on? Some of the restaurants may have marketing and sales challenges, you know. So I think, Ishak, it's important that you take the approach where you make your questions relevant to the possible challenges they may face, and that you start with that, trying to understand the overall picture, and then going into detail, be it agriculture, food provision and supply, or be it even marketing, you know, or the brand, improving brand image of that place. But other than that, the strategy is very good.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yeah, the strategy is very good. All right, and the second one, Ishak, to add for all those of you going into the business of food, including agricultural production or food manufacturing, as we have learned in today's session, this is very much falling under essentials. So it's pandemic proof and it is economic depression proof. You can also extend that by doing your research in supermarkets. So going through the supermarket shelves, that's my second favorite research activity anywhere in Africa. Going through the supermarket shelves and taking notice of what's on the shelf, where it comes from, and what's not on the shelf. I mean, this is so insightful. I cannot tell you how insightful this is. Let me give you some examples. So going to some of the biggest supermarkets in Accra, and this was, if I remember well, it was a ShopRite, which is South African supermarket in Accra. So one of the biggest there. And I'm going through the shelves doing my research. This is about 4 years ago, maybe. So here's what I realized going through the shelves. Number one, I went through the fruit juices. The fruit juices came from Lebanon, Egypt, France, the Netherlands, and we're talking tropical fruit juices. All right. Now, Ghana is like the go-to destination for tropical fruits. I mean, it has a huge range of tropical fruits and amazing quality and good processing facility, good business environment, you name it. But then all these juices came from abroad, including Europe, where you do not have a single mango or pineapple grow, right? So that is eye-opening. There was one fruit juice coming out of Ghana, and they were about, because this is a big supermarket chain, there were about 7 of them coming out from Europe, the Middle East, and maybe from South Africa one. Then I continued in the same supermarket looking at the chocolate. the chocolate offerings. So this is again 4 years ago, I think. And the same with the chocolate. There were the Nestle's and the Cadbury's and you name it. There was a single offering from Ghana. But again, there were about 6 or 8 offerings of chocolate, of cocoa powder to mix into your drink coming out of Ghana. And that in a country where we have which is the second biggest producer of cocoa. Then I continue in the same supermarket and I check the freezer. The freezers are giving also away a lot of information in Accra. And I do the same wherever I am, by the way. So you find me dangling in the freezer, inside the freezer, literally, because usually they don't have so much stuff. And what do I see? I see potato chips. Yeah, this is UK English, and I think you call it French fries or something. What do you call it in the US? French fries or something like that. So you see the potato chips frozen, the French fries in the supermarket, made and imported from France. I mean, come on, the Africa Business Jumpstarters, how difficult is it to cut potatoes into some pieces and package them so you can fry them? No, it was imported from France. And you will find this is like a proper market research of really what the market has to offer. Because when you walk into the biggest supermarkets in the cities of Africa, that's what the market has. It shows you the maximum of what's available. And the kind of information and insights you receive is amazing, to say the least. And it will show you where the opportunities are. Okay. Fish, for example, British English fish fingers, American English fish sticks. You can't find them anywhere. We have like shores among the sea, right? We have families, well-off families in Africa where even the women are getting busy, they're career-oriented and so on. You can't find fish fingers or fish sticks packaged in the freezer. However, we have fish everywhere. Just to give you some examples. Okay, so who is next? We said Annie.
Hi, I have 2 questions. The first question is, how do I sell on my keyboard? And the second question is that I pay for I believe was the African Business Jumpstarter, but I don't know if I do have access to Facebook, because I tried to sell requests and it was denial. So I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong or I don't have the access to. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay. So Annie, first of all, your first question in regards to MyKibo, which is our new marketplace of online products in Africa, agribusiness products. You can get access and start selling your products as a manufacturer or supplier in Africa if, number one, you are the go-to person authority, so you're not a middleman or a trader in between the suppliers and other traders, unless you are getting the supplies from women farmers, a cooperative who do not have access to the internet, and therefore you are the go-to authority. And if you have the export business registration, export license, and export experience. So this is crucial. We are onboarding only suppliers who have export experience. And the reason being is because it's already very difficult for buyers across the world to do business with Africa. And if we then bring startups and new entrepreneurs who I absolutely understand also need access to markets, but then we are bringing another difficulty into the equation, which is people who don't really know what they're doing because they don't have the export experience. And then it becomes even more challenging for our buyers internationally to now do business with Africa or via our platform. And therefore, it's important that you have export experience. Once you have traded successfully, export successfully a couple of times, and you can show that via an invoice, you're eligible to join MyKibo, and we promote your products for free. And that is for free, which is wonderful because Alibaba and all the others, Amazon and all, you name them, they do not do it for free. And we do it for free for African manufacturers and suppliers. Yeah, you can always reach out to Crystal at info@africajumpstart.com. Also, in regards to your second question, Annie, I understand that you're a member of, is it the Academy already? Is that what you mean, Africa Business Academy?
It's the Jumpstart. I believe I don't know
well, we have the Academy, and we have the Academy, and we have the importing programs. This is my 2 paid programs. The Jumpstarter community is all you guys. So you get access to my emails and to free Zoom sessions like this one, but you're not a paying member in my programs. If you are a paying member and you have challenges to access anything, again, please email Crystal, info@africajumpstart. Maybe, and always when you ask for a Facebook request, put the name in with which you registered, so we can recognize you as a member.
Hey, be careful, man. I'll see you around.
Someone
Yes, sir.
arguing. Someone arguing on a Thursday afternoon. Must be that in the United States. Cannot be Kigali, because people don't seem to argue here. They're always quiet and patient. Oh my God. There's so much we can learn from people in Rwanda. It's very, very, very rare to see Rwandese arguing. And this one, I mean, you know, I'm sure you argue at home, dear brothers and sisters in Rwanda, but on the streets, for example, I've been here for a year. We've seen people arguing once or twice at the construction site. And my older sister, she was like, oh my God, look, they're arguing. And we're like, oh my God, this is like such a rarity. So when you come here, you also get a bit of a peace of mind. You stop arguing. All right. So who goes next, please? I hope this answers your question. Annie, please reach out to Crystal, and she will reply by tomorrow. Okay, who goes next? I already mentioned your names. The 2 names I've mentioned, who was it? Tupik, yes, please, Tupik, and then there was another person. Go ahead, please.
Hi, hello everyone. Hi, thank you very much. I have one question. I had following you since last year, and you was talking about tiny houses. So I have an idea, not an idea, is project that I'm gonna do it in Zanzibar, in Nungwi. And I want you to tell me something, maybe is good idea or no, because my idea is doing tiny houses as a Airbnb in Nungwi, Zanzibar, and I will invite you as my guest one day if you want to come to visit. Of course, yeah. And will be Airbnb, but I will do A-frame houses cabinet.
A-frame houses cabinet?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that technology, but let me answer your question. Let me answer the question. So here's what I usually look at. So first of all, I look at the macro level. So you're saying basically tourism and hospitality, real estate coupled with Zanzibar. And generally saying, I would say this is a good combination in terms of the industry you've chosen and the market you've chosen. Because first of all, Zanzibar is, a major tourism destination. Even during COVID, a lot of people were still traveling to Zanzibar. It's very close to Tanzania. So of course you can also make use of the tourists that are coming to Tanzania mainland as well, and maybe wanting to do a short trip to Zanzibar. On top of that, the government in Zanzibar really, or the administration, which is separate from Tanzania, they're autonomous, are really putting in major efforts to develop Zanzibar. And we are seeing a whole range of new policies, a lot of development agendas as it concerns, tourism in particular, also some other industries, but real estate and tourism in particular, because of course that is kind of the major income generator for the island of Zanzibar. So this is great, number one. Number two then is, I like your concept of tiny houses or tiny units, because what it allows you to do is to start with 1 or 2, just very small, and not make a major capital investment. Because as I have said in the beginning, we need to test the market first, number 1, and number 2, we are in volatile times. So what you really want to do is start with 1 or 2 or 3 units and start selling them, not start selling, so I'm sorry, start renting them, so you can test the market in real time over 6 to 12 months. If you then have, for example, additional money or additional investment, you have tested the market, you have understood the dynamics, you have understood what works and what doesn't work, maybe you have to change something in your offering, then you can amend that accordingly. The problem is you want to put 5 or 10 units out there, and suddenly you notice, oh, it's not in demand, or the preferences are different, and now it's difficult to go back. So start with 2 to 3 units maximum, I would say. I like that you're going small. And then the other thing is that you really need to see who are your ideal clients. That's very important. So before you put anything up the Africa Business Jump status, you have to kind of assess who would be your ideal clients to rent your small tiny house units in Zanzibar. Because depending on whom you're offering it to, your offering will be different, both in the design as well as in the marketing of it. So let's say, are you offering it to families with children? Are you offering it to high income individuals in Zanzibar, people with money who want to have a different kind of cool experience? Are you offering it to students? Are you offering it from people who travel in from Kenya or Ethiopia and they want to have, an experience in Zanzibar? Are you offering it to ecotourists who are coming all the way from Europe? Can you see these are very different groups? And therefore, the kind of offering you do has to fit, 2 or 3 of those groups, or your ideal client group. It cannot fit everyone. And you need to have that kind of understanding before you design and then invest and then put the offer out there. So this is an exercise that's important for me, in my view, to do. And in order to do that, you have to understand who are the tourists that are coming to Zanzibar. Who are they? Where are they coming from? What are the kind of preferences they have? And you can find some of that information online. But if you have the ability, I would even travel to Zanzibar, possibly during the high season and the low season, to actually see in real life, who are the people out there? What do they want? What kind of experience did they enjoy? What did they feel was missing? And also, what is it that you can offer differently from everything else that's out there in Zanzibar, so that you can stand out? And not just standing out because things are tiny, but stand out in the entire kind of experience and offering that you make. So that's just quickly to give you an overview of, I think it's a good match, but don't rush into it without understanding who is your ideal client, what are you exactly offering, and why that's important to understand. To whom would you like to market? And then you start with a kind of a test round before you invest more.
Okay, thank you very much. Maybe
You're
I can
welcome.
ask the last one. What do you think the best client is, the family or eco tourist? I was thinking about this.
Yes, so my answer would be, I don't know. The answer would be, I don't know, because I haven't done that research in the context of Zanzibar. But what I would add is that you make sure that if international students stay away, if you were tourists, if you were promoting to international tourists, as you've just mentioned, eco-tourists, for example, that come in internationally, if they are staying away for any reason, for example, another pandemic, you need to also make sure that you have a backup plan, that you're equally attractive to people in Tanzania or who are traveling in from Kenya. And again, intra-African tourism is huge. It's growing at a much faster rate. And when I was at our big favorite resort in Mombasa, what I've seen is it's a huge resort. It was packed with Africans during the high season. You couldn't get a free room. There were Kenyans, there were Ethiopians, there were Tanzanians, a lot of Ethiopians at the time. I'm talking like 2-3 years back. And someone is sharing their screen. Let me just stop that. So Tupac and everyone else in the tourism industry, it's important now that you have a backup plan in terms of local, regional, international tourism. All right. And it's the local tourists that will stay throughout, not the international ones. Yeah. Okay. All right. You're welcome. Yes. Who goes next, please? Whoever I see next. Who did I see next? Felicity, Mr. Carmack. Go ahead, please.
Please, okay.
Mr. Carmack, your audio is very, the audio quality is poor. Maybe you may fix that. In the meanwhile, I'll take Felicity. We can give it another try. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Please, my question is, those who are already in the export course, please, do you have a deduction for your course? And second, if somebody wants to buy or sign up for your course too, is the person also going to be deducted 2 times a month, or after the other one ends, then your own will start? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Felicity. Thank you. So again, these are 2 separate programs, the Africa Business Academy and the Importing from Africa program. What I allow to combine the 2 is if you pay the Africa Business Academy full. So that means you're making 1 full payment for the entire year, the 997, you pay that today, for example, then I will add you for free to the importing course. If you have already started paying for the importing course, then what we can do is we can repay you the last couple of payments over the last 2 months or so, but we cannot pay all the last few months. If you have just completed 6 months of payment, then it will be complicated in terms of logistics to pay everyone back so many payments, you know. But if you have made a couple of payments in the importing course already, then we can refund you. Crystal will do that. If you have just started the importing course, then we can add that for free and cancel your subscription.
Okay, I'm not sorry. I want to be clear here. Okay, let's assume if I don't have the amount to pay at once, but I have already been paying for the exports already, maybe like 4 months. How am I going to be deduct from your own cost too, as well? Am I going to deduct twice or after this?
Yes, Felicity. So this, thank you for clarifying. So if you are in the importing course for 3-4 months, your payments with that will end after 6 months for the importing course, and then you have lifetime access to the importing course. But your other academy monthly installments would run parallel. So you would make 2 monthly payments. Yes. Yeah, if you pay monthly. I hope that was clear. Right. But you can again email Crystal at info@africajumpstart.com if you have further questions. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Shall we try Mr. Carmack again? Shall we try your audio once more?
Is that better?
Oh, go again.
Is it better? Can you hear me now?
Okay, here's the thing. Yes, I can hear you, but very poorly. And because it's hurting our ear, I would say, please ask a quick question. No, go ahead. But instead of giving a quick intro, long intro, just a quick question. Thank you, Mr. Carmack, for interest.
You're welcome. And I just want to say very quickly that I'm enjoying everything. I'm a long-time corporate executive in American telecommunications. I'm married to a woman who's from Uganda. And so this is giving me interest now to take the knowledge that I've learned here in America about business and go there. My question is, one is, how do you register your business in Africa? Is there a legal, in the United States, you must be incorporated, whether or not it's an LLC or whatever. So internationally, how do we do that? Do we need some legal counsel to do that? Or does your program offer us instructions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carmack. Thank you. And I'm sorry that I'm interrupting. It's just because of the slightly poor audio. Okay, so yes. So first of all, it really depends where in Africa you want to register your business. So some African countries have already introduced e-government services, so you can actually do the registration fully online. So Rwanda has done that, Kenya has done that, Nigeria has done that. You can actually go online and register your business online very easily. And then, you will be sent the business certification and you can actually download it online. In Rwanda, again, since I'm here, this is being done within 24 hours. So if you would register your business today, tomorrow, unless they have questions, tomorrow you would receive your business license and able to operate in Rwanda. And you can download the certificate and that's it, you're incorporated. It is also important to understand, are you registering a local business or are you registering a branch of an existing foreign business? Usually it's much easier to register a local business if you can. And it could still be, linked with the business that you already have, but it is easier because first of all, less paperwork, usually also cheaper, and much easier also in regards to filing taxes and so on. So it's a little bit less complex to do that. So when you have a international business where you want to open a local branch, you usually need to bring, letter of incorporation, then letter of the board of directors and all sorts of things. So it gets a little bit more complex. So I would always suggest to any of you to go with the local business and have that local business be linked to the business that you have already elsewhere. And it makes it much easier in regards to taxes and so on. Yeah, that's it. And in the Africa Business Academy, we do touch on these aspects. So for example, and not for every country. So you would need to ask, for a particular country. And quite frankly, we also don't have all the answers all the time because we don't know the single business registration for all the countries. But we had, for example, someone, and I'm muting you, Mr. Carmack, again, because of the audio. So we had, for example, someone coming from the government of Uganda. So Pamela brought a guest speaker from Uganda in from the from the Investment Promotion Center of Uganda. We had a speaker invited at the Africa Business Academy who would talk you through all the steps that were necessary to open a business in Uganda. And then also we had the same for Ghana, actually twice, in regards to someone from the Investment Promotion Center of Ghana, also attending the academy. So we bring these guest speakers in, and also for Tanzania. So I forgot to mention that earlier on. We also have an ABBA affiliate in Tanzania who is an investment expert there. He is in close contacts and has actually been recommended to me at the time by the Tanzania Investment Center, which is the government office or the government authority for everything concerning business and investment in Tanzania. They have introduced me at the time to him, and Mr. Faraja, I'm very happy to say, is also regularly coming to the academy to talk about how to invest and do business in Tanzania. So we're bringing in these business experts and authorities because I also do not have all the details of business registration in various countries. Yeah, I hope this helps. Okay, great. Who else, please, is going next? Ikena and Ali. Sometimes I forget names. If I have already called you out, please just go ahead.
Yes. Say hello, Dr. Harnet.
Hello, Kenan.
Question, yes. My question to you is this. I know that on Sunday you had mentioned certain agricultural commodities that are considered, like high, they are,
High value
considered
crops?
high.
High value crops?
Correct. And I am thinking about processing macadamia nuts. And I just want to know your thoughts on that. I am thinking about going into the East African region. As a matter of fact, I am going to be in Kigali in the first week, maybe second week of December. So just to do some little market research. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. And
okay, great. Yes, thank you for the question. So you said producing. So you mean growing?
Well, no, that's not the.
Or just processing?
That's just the processing. That's the value chain that I'm actually thinking about.
Right, Ikena. Okay, so let me say a few things about that. I'm glad you're asking the question before you make your way to Rwanda in this regard. So here's the following. And I'm going to mute you for better audio. So here's the following that I would say in this regard. Generally speaking, macadamia nuts, including other nuts, but macadamia nuts now in particular, is absolutely a high value crop and product. The demand globally is growing very fast. And it's huge, actually. Supply cannot meet demand. And then it is a nut that can be sold at a high unit price. So let me give you a little bit general context of what's happening in that industry at the moment. So generally speaking, of course, because the demand is quite high, more people in Africa are aware of the value of growing macadamia nuts. I have met the first person who introduced macadamia nuts here in Rwanda, and he actually really had a vision for the future because the trees needed 5 to 7 years to grow. So he kind of grew them in big quantities. This is a few years back, and he's now one of the 2 top producers in Rwanda for macadamia nuts. So one thing for all of you who are interested in this particular product to remember is it's a tree, so it needs time. So that means you cannot immediately reap the benefits if you choose to produce it yourself. Of course, any kind of agriculture you do, you could intercrop. That means you could have, the macadamia nut trees around your crop, and that can give you another cash flow or income stream for the future. Now, when it comes then to first of all, growing and then processing and trading macadamia nuts, let me share one more thing in regards to growing. It's very difficult to get the seedlings because a lot of people want macadamia nuts right now and the seedlings for it, but they are hardly available and they're very expensive. So last time I spoke to the other big producer of macadamia nuts here in Rwanda, they said they're getting their seedlings from Kenya at $5 per seedling. That's a lot, $5 per seedling. And that chat, I had it with him about 2 years ago. So this is a business almost in its own where you can grow macadamia nut seedlings. In fact, we had an ABBA member also just a couple of days ago asking about that and saying she wants macadamia seedlings. I think was it for Zambia, but she could not get her hands on the seedlings. So we were discussing that in the academy as well. Now, in regards to processing, Ikena, here's the thing: the people who have kind of a market share of the macadamia nut industry, they already do the processing. So usually you have only a very small number of true players. Why? Because the supply of the nuts is not there, and the supply that is there in the country is already taken up by those who have processing manufacturing firms. So in Rwanda, for example, it's 2 big players, and believe me, everyone who's growing macadamia is selling to one of those big buyers, the big manufacturers. So there's no room for you to come in whatsoever unless you are producing at primary stage with a kind of a longer term vision, or you're going into production of seedlings, which could be interesting because yes, they want to buy the seedlings, but then where do you get the seedlings from? Because it's very, very difficult to get the nuts, you know, because they're short in demand. So it's an interesting industry with a lot of potential. See if you could come in somewhere else. Kenya, for example, again, there is a lot of growth as well. But the way I see it, the market is there's a lot of demand and not enough supply. And therefore, the players that are already in the industry are snatching up all the supply there is, plus they're heavily investing in growing more trees, which again will go towards that. So yeah, so it's good that you asked, because now you can kind of re-amend your trip, you know. And this Nurelga Macadamia, which is Rwandan owned, you will find the name of it in my Harnet Bokretion Facebook page. I have a banner of us in front of the macadamia nut manufacturing. That one is Rwandese owned. The second one is Chinese owned. All right, next was, who was next, please? Just go ahead, Ali, or whoever yes, please go ahead.
Hi everyone. First of all, I'm sorry for the background in the noise in the background. And,
Ali, yes, similar, just sorry to interrupt you, similar like with Mr. Carmack, very poor audio, difficult to listen to or understand. Please, very quickly, your question.
Okay, so if I did sign up for the import package already, do I get a refund if I need to sign up for the Africa,
Okay, Ali, sorry again. I'm so sorry again to interrupt you. It's difficult for me to understand. I hear you have a question regards to the program, the signing up. Please, since the audio is bad and I don't hear you properly, please put your question in writing here in the chat room. Crystal is in the room. She can reply to you. Alternative, please send us an email at info@. Okay. She can reply to you now, but stop your car before you start writing. We don't want to cause accidents during the live. But Crystal's here in the room, and Crystal, please look out for Ali's question in regards to the program and a challenge she has in this regard, and assist her. Thank you. All right, who goes next, please? Who goes next? Oh yeah, here. Oh, Simba and Coach PHS. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, who goes first?
Ladies first, go ahead.
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you on that honor. Thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, Dr. Harnet, I've been following you since last year or so, and I'm just not very clear about how one can source this product, because I have the privilege of somebody asking me from the UK to source a particular product here in Senegal. And because it's pretty much available, but you know, going inside the market, it was very difficult for me to be able to get down to the roots. Who are the people that are producing en masse? Who are the manufacturers? Who are the wholesalers? I had a friend coming over telling me that, okay, she does that. But at the end of the day, we got to know that she's just an intermediate. So how do I break to get to the wholesalers of this product? Is there a particular organization or some,
okay.
I don't know.
Thank you, Coach Beate. Yes, thank you so much for your question. And so here's what I would suggest. You didn't share the product that you're talking about. So I assume that maybe you don't want to share it. So let me talk in a little bit more general terms. First of all, you said a friend wanted me to bring this, and then you said a friend said another friend said she has it. And of course, as I always teach, be sure not to make, number one, emotional decisions or friendship partnerships unless these friends are really in business in that particular industry, and they know exactly what they're talking about. Very often in the context of Africa, we're trying to make deals happen through certain contacts or friends or family members. And believe me, I've been now in this space for 7 years, and with a lot of people, especially in the African diaspora, most of the deals that are done through friends and family members, they don't result in much, and often in a lot of loss, unless that friend or family member is a key player in the industry, and they're talking really about a business, giving you a business perspective. So that's my first advice to you, to make sure that you reduce your risk. Number two, if then the request for this particular product is indeed made from a business perspective, then I would say reach out to industry associations. So if this is an agricultural product or a manufactured product in Senegal, there is an association of manufacturers usually. There's an association of farmers or agriculturalists. Sometimes even very concretely, an association of cocoa farmers or association of dairy producers and so on. So look out for these government associations, because usually, and this is very important to you and everyone else, usually reliable producers, manufacturers, suppliers are members, professional members, business members of these associations. And that then means that when you contact one of these associations, they can make a referral for you, or they can suggest one of their members, or you can find often the members also online under the membership area of that particular association. The same is true for the Chamber of Commerce. You could also reach out to them. So what I also teach, and this is something that you will learn in the Virtual Africa Business Bootcamp, which was my New York City event that we have recorded, and you will also get access to when you join the Academy today. Crystal, please share the link again here and on YouTube. There I teach in detail how you make connections to the right people. And one thing that we teach there is to make the connection to the suppliers you seek always through professional entities or government entities, and not through someone who said, oh, I know someone who does this, and I'm going to give you his WhatsApp number, and then you don't really know with whom you are communicating. So this is crucial to reduce risk in Africa. You want referrals that are reliable and professional, and you get them through what I call strategic partners, which are government entities and industry associations. The other way to go about is to go to a local conference and expo. They're not running in big numbers at the moment because of COVID, but visiting some of these expos are also a good way to get introduced to reliable suppliers. So that's how much information I can give you. In the video training, we also then teach what you say exactly, how you introduce yourself to the industry associations and to the government bodies, so they actually want to make a referral, because at the end they're giving away their personal contacts or a contact of a member that they have. And you need to say the right things in order for the doors for you to be open. But this would be like an entire training session on its own. But that is the kind of thing also we teach in the Academy. And we have a training on that recorded. All right. I hope this was helpful, and good luck.
Yes.
And listen
you.
to the advice. Listen to the advice I gave you, because I remember we had an ABBA member. And I remember, because she was from Senegal as well, and I'm going to mute you again for better audio. She was our dear ABBA member for a few years, actually. She stayed with the Academy. And she knew all that because she's been trained or informed in this regard. And then she went to Senegal she got an offer that was kind of too good to be true, which looked like a perfect opportunity for a big amount of mangoes. And guess she lost $4,000 during that trip. And she shared that with the academy. And that was exactly because she was on the ground and she kind of forgot what she had learned in the academy. And she lost $4,000. Okay, Simba, and then Isaac. Yes, go ahead, please, Simba.
I have one question. It's
good.
Regarding registration.
Okay, very quickly, since it's registration for ABBA, very quickly. I want to be fair to everyone.
African Jobstart Academy.
Yes, please.
Because I was not expecting that this will come today, like I will be paying today, so I have no money in my card. I just want to ask if it is possible to have a kind of commitment fee and pay the balance next week.
All right, you can reach out in this regard to Crystal at info@africajumpstart.com, and she will let you know those details.
Please share the link, please.
Yes. Put your name in the chat box, Coach PH, your full name, so Crystal can take note and you can email her. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to welcoming you. All right, Simba, go ahead. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I have a question concerning the essential products, because you have mentioned about essential products are the future products to sell. So some of us, we have ideas of African products to export from Africa into Europe, but we want to re-amend because of the pandemic issue that you have mentioned. You are teaching us, and also we are re-amending our visions. So I wanted to ask about the baobab powder and also the baobab seed. What will be your take concerning that? This time is exporting from Africa into other parts of the world. Is it a good way? Is it a pandemic proof? What will be your advice concerning that?
Okay, Simba, thank you so much for the question. And my answer would be absolutely yes. I think it's a very, very good product for several reasons. Number one, the sourcing of it, first of all, usually comes from nature. So that means, the sourcing of it is relatively cost effective. You don't put a lot of capital injection for it to have it collected by some locals. And then even the processing itself doesn't require some kind of complicated machinery or so. So the processing of it can be very cost effective. That's number one. Number two, it belongs under food, and actually it belongs under superfoods. Now, the superfood market is a multi-billion-dollar market in the West that has just grown so rapidly over the last few years. And it's actually a market that's also slowly but surely coming to Africa. So even on the continent, people are becoming more and more health aware. This happened before the pandemic, and they're looking for this kind of amplifying superfoods that can be good for their health. On top of it now, we have a pandemic. That means people are even extra interested to eat healthily and to add supplements so they can maintain their health and improve their immune system. Now, baobab, okay. Baobab in particular, it's okay, Mashas, you can continue. Baobab in particular is an immune booster because it has very, very high amounts of vitamin C. It can actually be sold as one of the superfoods that is perfect to boost your immune system. So for all these reasons, it is a very powerful product that ticks a lot of boxes in my view. The trend was already there prior to the pandemic. It's becoming even more powerful after the pandemic and cost effective. What I would do, Simba, what I believe is important is now your positioning, So of course you can start with kind of trading bulk amounts. Maybe there are other producers or manufacturers in the West or elsewhere that would like to buy the bulk amount to use it for their manufacturing. But what I always say in these times, as much as you want to go local, regional, international. That is a risk reduction strategy, especially during times like this. So what do I mean with that? Doesn't matter if it's agriculture, tourism, trade, and so on. You want to see if you have a local market, a regional market, and an international market. Because if one is not working for any reason, you can fall back on the other market. So what I would say, Simba, is to focus on the local/regional and the international, but how do you position yourself? So instead of just saying we're selling baobab, then you could have like a positioning, we are helping people to boost their immune system naturally. Let me mute. To boost their immune system, we help people to boost their immune system naturally throughout the pandemic and beyond. And then saying, and at the same time, you know, going national and going impacting on communities in Africa. So you're kind of marrying two feel-good factors, that taking care of themselves, but then also making an impact on Africa. And most people do not know that baobab is a major booster for your immune system. It was one of the favorite supplements I took during the pandemic, and then I ran out of it. It was my big box pot from Ghana I brought, and then it was finished. So yeah, perfect product, absolutely. By all means, absolutely. I hope this helps.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So when you're saying to marry two fields,
Simba,
okay.
Actually, my rule was only one question. My rule was only one question.
Oh,
I know
sorry.
she had a follow-up question because others are also waiting, and we kind of want to close. So what I mean with what I'm marrying, when I'm saying marry 2 or 3, what I'm always saying with that is try to find more than one benefit in your product.
Okay.
So this is generally for all of you. If you are positioning yourself in a way that there are multiple benefits. So again, let me give you an example with MyKibo. We have positioned MyKibo with 7 benefits. And again, today is not the time to share it. I will share it with the Academy members. 7 benefits. These are 7 strong factors that allow us to position ourselves and to position ourselves differently from the competition. So if you can manage that with 2 or 3 factors or trends, that makes you more powerful as a business, and your business concept becomes more powerful if you manage to position yourself in a way that integrates at least 2 or 3 important trends and positioning factors. Okay. Yes, next is Isa. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Dr. Harnet, can you hear me?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so one thing is me and my team, we actually design an app that works all over Africa. So that's basically, if you probably know, KGG is similar that one. So we just launched it, and it's not been that much, but we just introduced it to people. And the other thing is, and I do have farming experience from back when we used to own farm back in Eritrea. So we used to have big like on-end farms. So other thing I was thinking is probably about avocado, like it's production, like packing, maybe dry it. And because every time I see it, people, they take it home, it gets wasted until it's, it gets done. You bring it raw, and most of them, we end up throwing them all the time because it gets wasted when it comes to home. The day you want to use it, it's not probably, it's not probably done. So we was thinking the same thing to go into, especially to Uganda. That's what we're thinking with my friends. So I don't know what you think about that.
Okay, great. So you mentioned 2 things. You mentioned, you said you have a design firm.
App. We have already the app called Shiro.
App design.
Yeah.
App design. Okay. In which field are you doing the apps? Connecting with also agriculture or different industries?
So that one is basically it's promoting African business. They can post it so people they can get connected to each other. It's kind of
networking
buy and sell.
kind of. Okay. All right. But your question, as I understand, was now related to agriculture, right?
Yes.
And the kind of the waste of products. And I absolutely agree. I mean, this is a huge challenge in Africa. And whenever usually you have a challenge, you also have an opportunity. And as you have mentioned quite rightly, is that a lot of the agricultural produce in Africa goes to waste. And the reason why it goes to waste is because there's not enough storage facilities on site. There's no transport facilities, or even when there is transport facilities, sometimes this is too expensive, or there is no direct market, someone who buys it. And the tragedy of Africa is really that tons and tons, I mean, millions of tons of food go to waste on the agricultural field. So yes, there's a huge opportunity in this regard. So, for example, what I would say, the most important thing is how can you kind of quickly preserve products, that before they're, because the whole thing is about the shelf life also. If you have something that's already thrown away, either you create storage facilities or cold storage, which is another opportunity, or you find a quick way to preserve what you have. And of course, one could be, for example, through drying. So I have also shared that earlier this year in another presentation, that drying fruits, but even vegetables, this is the new trend also in the West, dried vegetable snacks, all right, dried beetroot, dried carrots, dried cassava, and so on, dried sweet potato, things like that, but also including fruits, of course. Now, what you could do is you could start with small drying facilities. And again, what I'm trying to say is never invest heavily in the beginning, but kind of test the concept. And there is very cost-effective kind of drying facilities that you could have installed next to a farm that is already producing big quantities of a certain fruit, but then regularly they have waste. And they now, you can cooperate with them in terms of selling you the waste cheaply, or for you to incorporate your drying facilities at their site, possibly for testing. So, I want to kind of share what you can do at a minimum. And again, I'm so for testing your market first. So there was a foreigner, I would say, a European guy or an American guy who was here in Rwanda, and he shared this online. Basically, what he wanted to offer the market was dried tomato, sun-dried tomato, to be precise. And this is amazing because sun-dried tomatoes are really high in demand in regards to hospitality industry, hotels, restaurants. You can even, package them, sell them, put them on pizzas, and they're not available in Africa, sun-dried tomatoes. We have a lot of tomatoes going to waste. We have a lot of sun, but we don't have sun-dried tomatoes. And what this guy did, which I think was brilliant, he took a satellite dish, he took old satellite dishes, and then he put alu foil on the satellite dishes. And he basically cut the tomato, sliced it, and tried different techniques. And he sun-dried them on these old satellite dishes with alu foil. And he started selling. That is the brilliant thing, because there were other expats and foreigners and people from the diaspora who said, oh my God, yes, we want sun-dried tomatoes. And he started selling that without investing anything really. And that, in my view, is brilliant. Too many people are scared to go that step because they feel like, oh, people won't take me serious. So then they feel like they have to purchase some kind of big solar dryer and import it from China and then set it up. And they feel like they kind of have to inject that capital and make a lot of effort in order to get started. But I think what this guy did was brilliant. He kind of tested the whole thing out in terms of demand, in terms where opportunity lies. with no capital injection. And this is what I would suggest. I think products that would be great would be sun-dried tomatoes, because literally you would be the only one probably in Uganda. Let me mute again. Another one that is good is sun-dried mangoes, in my view, because they are also very popular in the West, and they can serve as snacks locally, regionally, and internationally. And frankly, Isaac, when I spoke to two supermarket managers in Germany, asking about the trends there, both of them told me. One in particular said, "Oh, there's one trend that he cannot overlook, and that is the high demand for dried fruit snacks and vegetables, dried fruit snacks, fruits and vegetables." Because he said a few years ago we did not have that, and now they're empty shelves and we cannot get the product fast enough. And this was one of the top retailers in Germany, big supermarket chain. And I spoke to the store manager. And so this is a trend, and this is a brilliant way to preserve it. And there are solar-powered dryers that you can, import at a slightly later stage. But yeah, this is great. And again, Africans are also getting more health aware. So this can also work as a snack locally. And I would go with sun-dried even at one point to try it out, because that is something that people also appreciate. It's even has maybe a little bit lower shelf life, but it has a kind of a quality on its own. All right, so there's a real opportunity there. And Uganda is a great country because it has a lot of great fruits and good quality. All right, so I would say maybe let me take one or two more. Can we see a bit more faces on video? Let's see more of you on video. I'm going to take two more questions. You're kind of all disappearing on me. Let's see more of you on video. Let's get that vibe in again. Come on, final time. Yes, Dr. Okema, I've seen you, but I want to see more beautiful faces before I take you. Can I see your beautiful faces again, please, on video? Let's have 2-3 more of you joining us. Thank you so much. Two more, come on guys, two more on video. Fantastic, thank you. It makes all the difference when I see the beautiful faces. Excellent. All right, doctor, go ahead, please.
All right. I want to say a very big thank you to you for this wonderful outing. I think this is my first time. I met you on my email, and I got to know about this Zoom program on my email, and I decided to join. I want to say thank you. I've been on for the past 2 hours with you. I'm an integrative medical, thank you. I'm an integrative medical practitioner and also a naturopath. I reside in Nigeria, and I have an NGO that is into health. We take care of men and women health, and I am in Bayelsa State, Niger Delta, south part of Nigeria. So I looked at the link. I tried to look at the information you have on your academy, and I noticed that there is nothing much on health there. So my question is, since I'm into health and wellness, of what benefit will it be if I join your academy? And also, I also own an academy on integrative medicine that is also affiliated to Niger Delta University and Science Medicine Research Institute in Texas, USA. So,
Dr. Okema, unfortunately you dropped, or maybe is it the voice dropped, but I got your question. And since we are going towards the end, allow me to to answer that question, because it's a very, very valid question that you have. I get that question repeatedly, by the way, Doctor, in regards to people who are interested in the industry, health industry, and the health sector, who are professionals in this regard, and in terms of how the academy can assist. I have to be honest with you that in the past, I have not been focusing much on health. Reason being, I think, to some extent, although it is a fast-growing sector, on the one hand, regulations can be quite strict in this regard and vary. Secondly, also maybe a lack of knowledge, on my end, of the health industry in detail, because when someone is a health professional, they also tend to have one key expertise in the health industry that they would like to focus on. So yes, I have not focused on that very much. Generally speaking, when it comes to the academy does not provide, let's say, technical input. So someone was here last Sunday asking, he's a solar power technology expert, and how we can assist with that. And I said, well, we will not go into the solar power technology or the details of what kind of product or offering you're making in detail, because we don't understand the technology of solar power, similar like with health. But what we do is we show you where the opportunities lie, and especially how you create a business model that would work in the context of Africa. So I had someone at the ABBA in the past who was an expert, who was a professional at the NHS, so the National Health Service in the UK. And he wanted, his business model was to import certain machinery for hospitals, actually to measure some kind of cancer parameters. And he wanted to import that into Africa. That was his business model. So basically what I suggested to him was, I understand the importance of that, but when he's getting started for the first time in Africa as an expert in that area, when he goes into something as specific as cancer treatment and a kind of equipment that measures, cancer cells or whatever, he will quickly hit the ceiling with that. So you will only have so many hospitals. For example, take Kenya, which has a big number of private clinics or private hospitals, or Nigeria, the same. But then among those that are private, that could maybe make easily such purchasing decisions from an individual, because government usually goes with procurement at a bigger stage. So among those private clinics that can make those decisions, how many of them are into cancer treatment? And then once you have those among cancer treatment, how many of them have the finances or are ready to purchase what he has to offer? So I quickly told him that that business model is already deemed to fail, because you're going from 100 to 50 to 10 to 3. And maybe you sold to the 3 successfully, but then what? The market is exhausted. So you're quickly hitting your ceiling. And so I guided him that this business model lacks what we call being able to disseminate into a greater space. So if he even goes then to Uganda or Tanzania next door, he would face the same problem. And because it was not, what do you call it? Oh gosh, sorry, it was not scalable. That's the key word. My brain is already fogged. So his business was not scalable. So lack of scalability was basically already doomed to fail. And that is the kind of business acumen or the business insights or the business guidance that we would give, doctor, regardless of in what business you are in how can you position yourself in a way in any industry that would make you stand out. Now you have 100 private clinics, okay, or you're giving alternative medicine, as you said, alternative practices how do you position yourself in a way that you don't just say alternative medicine, come to me. No, there are ways to position yourself powerfully, so people would see you and hear you and want to sign up to you. That is the power of positioning, again, that kind of applies to any business model and any industry. So this is what we are teaching, Doctor. It doesn't really matter in which industry you're in, but when it comes to real-time examples, I would usually give examples from the tourism industry and the agricultural industry, tech, and so on, and not very often from health sector. But I do have these tips as well, or these experiences as well. Let me give you another one for positioning. There's one pharmacist here in Rwanda who I met, this is about 6-7 years ago, when I came the first time to Rwanda. And he understood the power of positioning at the time. He positioned himself as the pharmacy that brought all the medication from Europe. So people love to go to him because we know there's a lot of counterfeit products or fake products being dumped into Africa. Of course, there's also regulation here in Rwanda, but generally speaking, people are scared of that. And so he positioned himself as the pharmacy where every medication and every product you buy, it is certified and made in Europe. And people love to go to his pharmacy because they had that trust in his product. That is strong positioning, and this is what I mean. This is the kind of guidance we provide, and it doesn't matter which industry you're in. But we are not health experts. But I love the wellness industry and alternative health, which is a hobby of mine, I'm happy to say, alternative health. So when you look at my children, I don't think that we've ever went to a doctor. I mean, the early stages for vaccinations or things like that, but we don't go to doctors because I through my family, I've been taught alternative health. And so whenever they're ill, I treat them at home and I know exactly what to do and with which illness, and they heal, and that's it. So we don't know doctor offices. So we have a passion that we share there as well, doctor. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, and Africa has a lot of natural products that can be used to heal, including baobab powder, which brings me back to, who was it? Simba. Okay, so go ahead. We take one more person, the last one. The last one, who will it be? Drum balls. Yes, Mr. Abdul Kader, go ahead, please, go ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
Hi, good evening, Doctor.
Good evening.
I would like, first of all, to thank you for your presentation. It's really very much useful, and that's what we are looking for. Let me just introduce myself. I'm a Syrian living in Dubai since 30 years. I'm doing business here in kitchen cabinet. Basically, almost 40% of our turnover is to Africa. The thing is, you don't believe that the business is coming from Africa to us through retail business. People coming, from Africa to Dubai as a shopping center to buy. So when we try to invest in Africa, we said, why we don't go to Africa? Instead, if they are coming to us, let's go to them. So we make so many exhibitions there in Uganda, in Tanzania. But indeed, the feedback of that exhibition was very poor. Indeed, when I invested there in the exhibition, I invested in a proper way. I appointed proper staff, and I make quite good also online advertisement. The thing is, Africa is not easy market. It's really very complicated. And that's why I have now a question of two parts. The first part is, now after the COVID-19 problem here, online sales started. So you have some platform, and so many platform now is generated in the few months today.
Mr. Abdul Kader, sorry to come in. Please summarize it short so that I'm clear to everyone. Yes,
you
please.
think
Go
in
ahead.
Africa we can sell online? We can sell online by using your platform or other platform? This is the first question. The second question is, you are always saying that's very good, because I have already 2 negative experience with the investment. We should not go in huge investment in Africa to don't have a big risk of losses. There is a chance of 70 to 80% of losses. So it's not possible in our business, as my previous experience, to go just to have a representative office. The people want to see the stock, want to see the material. So how we can make that comparison, or how we can make that equivalent between going with minimum investment that will not give anything and giving a proper impression?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your question. So here is what I would say. A few things, and this can be interesting, of course, to everyone, you know, especially in the area of, you know, it's like interior equipment, household goods, furniture, and so on and so forth. First of all, I would start in a market where, number one, you have a very thriving real estate sector, and number two, where you have a thriving higher upper class in Africa, because they would be the ones who are looking for high-end kitchens and who have the money and the willingness to invest in a higher end or well manufactured kitchen. So in my view, when I think about that, in East Africa, that would be Kenya, hands down, followed by Tanzania. And you said Uganda, which is also a good market, but it is not the top market for real estate in my view. And when it comes to high-end individuals, you have them in Tanzania coming up very, very fast. I would really focus on Kenya as a market. In West Africa, I would focus on Ghana for newcomers, we're talking, because Ghana is easier to navigate in than Nigeria. And this is very important, again, to understand. We want a market as a newcomer that is easy to navigate. So Kenya and Tanzania then is, you know, also a kind of low risk markets in this regard. And then when you go southern states, I would, you know, Namibia and Botswana are good markets, but a little bit small. So then you have really South Africa and possibly Malawi in Southern Africa. So first of all, the choice of the market is crucial, because what you want a high opportunity, low risk market. That is the combination what you're looking for. So the next stage would then be that to give some kind of a demonstration. It could be a showroom, or it could be that you have installed certain kitchens in someone else's house, and now you have taken pictures and you can give samples and you connect with real estate agents, for example, who are selling houses or who are developing houses, and they're looking for these kind of kitchens. I gave you an example yesterday, on Sunday, where we had this lady with high-end furniture in Kenya. She was Kenyan, and she felt she was going down in business, because what she has done is she put up a shop and then filled the shop with furniture. So this would be the equivalent to you putting up a shop and then filling it with built-in kitchens, and then hoping that someone would walk in and buy from you. I think much more powerful is to connect with real estate developers in Kenya or Ghana, for example, who are building high-end real estate developments, houses, apartments, luxury apartments. All of them want a built-in kitchen before they sell the house. And you can actually partner with them. That means you're now not selling to the consumer, you're now selling to the other business, which is the developers themselves. And they, as you rightly pointed out, they travel to Dubai or South Africa to get these kitchens. And now you would be in country and would become the authority for built-in kitchens, dealing directly with the developers. And once you have done a really good job with a few of them, the word will spread among the real estate community. So that is kind of an approach that you can take. And this is for all of you who do something in the space of interior design, furniture. It's a huge space, by the way. On top of it, to add more value inside of Africa, you could take your expertise. I mean, you're already doing it now because you're assembling inside of Africa. So assembling inside of Africa also creates jobs inside of Africa, meaning more money stays inside of Africa. And that is really our goal. And what you could do is bring the prefabricated material from Dubai to Africa, have it assembled in Africa. And that way you are creating jobs in Africa. But you could go a step further to source some of the material also inside of Africa. So for example, what is in demand is high-end real wood kitchens, beautiful real wood kitchens. So not the pressed, compacted kind of commercial wood, but the real wood kitchen. We also have, for example, here in several African countries, investment in bamboo for commercial production. So this is also an area where you could stand out. But since I need to stop here, I could say so many more things. I would take the approach to partner with real estate developers. Then you would not need a shop. You could have a simple showroom and sell business to business, and you becoming known as the showroom person, the showroom person if they have a showroom to build, and the person that fits their kitchen before they start selling. And it's all about how do you position yourself in a way that they want to buy from you. And some of that could be done with material from Africa and kitchens that stand out. And having the material that is to be assembled already in Africa. This can be cheaply warehoused, because I'm someone building at the moment. And one of my biggest headaches are the delays. That's, so if you can be fast, that is a major positioning point anywhere in Africa, because everyone is very late with everything. So that is a good service addition to have. I hope this was helpful. You're welcome.
Very much.
And okay, fantastic. All right. So dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, to all of you, thank you so much for really remaining in the room. Oh my God, I don't know, 2-3 hours now. I can't see the time. My belly is hungry. It shows me it's been quite a while that I've been sitting here. Thank you so much for your professionalism, your engagement, as always, your trust. And one more time, Crystal, please share the link to our Africa Business Academy. Please remember, let me just take 2 minutes to summarize what we've said today. Please remember that in business, you always have to be ahead of time. Remember the example we shared among Blockbusters and Netflix, and how a new startup was destroying a giant in the marketplace, simply for the reason that they were up to date and they were integrating the trends of the globe and the marketplace. That is how powerful this is, what we've discussed today. And it is so important that you not just listen and take notes, which is great, it's the first step, but that you actually go through the list. What are the trends? How am I really putting new practice into place that make sure that my business becomes more successful and stays on top of things in the next 5 to 10 years, but also to make sure that I reduce risk, especially during these times of pandemics and global turmoils. This needs to be a strategy that you're implementing by design and very consciously. When I look at my new company here in Rwanda, this is what we have done very, very strategically and consciously. I have 7 positioning factors that make me, number one, unique in regards to the competition. It allows me to compete, but on top of it, it is what I'm doing what it means to incorporate the trends. I'm looking ahead of what's coming, so I can be in the game 5 to 10 years from now. And this is the kind of insights and the kind of business advice and acumen that we are teaching in the Africa Business Academy. Look for the gems and then implement them. I hope that I will be seeing many of you and that we start working together in the ABA. For those of you joining today, we'll see you again in the ABA on Sunday, where we work on your particular business model for Africa and see, have you incorporated the trends? How can we reduce risk in Africa in your particular business model? So the Africa Business Jumpstarters, stay safe and well wherever in the world you are. Keep marching because you deserve it. You deserve success. You deserve the lifestyle you always craved for. I've certainly found it after many years. The grass really is greener on the other side. And yes, take care of yourself and see you soon. Until next time, goodbye for now. Goodbye.